Okay, welcome everybody. I will call the meeting to order at 6:01. So I'm going to read the notice of the annual school district meeting and budget hearing. Annual meeting and budget hearing of the school district electors. The electors of the Sun Prairie Area School District are hereby notified that the annual meeting and budget hearing of said school district for the transaction of any and all business can be properly considered and acted upon at said meeting will be held at Sun Prairie East High School Performing Arts Center, 888 Grove Street in the city of Sun Prairie, Dane County, on October 6, 2025 at 6 p.m. Our detailed budget is available for inspection at the District Support Center's business office located at 501 South Bird Street, Sun Prairie, Wisconsin. And this was published in the September 26th and October 3rd, 2025 issues of the Star per Wisconsin Statute 120.081C. All right, so if everybody will join me for the Pledge of Allegiance, the flag is.
To the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And so I would like to start out by introducing my fellow board members who are here. I believe they're all sitting in this general area, maybe? And Isaac over there. I can't see you, Isaac, but I'll introduce you. So Colleen Eulenkamp, Amanda Davis, Melissa Grayson, Diana McFarland, our newest member, Danny Miller, and Isaac Sung. So thank you. And then I just would like to do a quick recognition of district officials who are in the audience, and I cannot see you all out there. So if everybody who is here from the district wants to stand, we thank you for being here tonight. And then I would also like to recognize the people who helped with the annual meeting preparation. So Matt and his Office of People and all the other people who helped. I'm just going to say that in general because I know that there's a lot more of them helping than I am aware of. So we appreciate everything that you guys do to get the annual meeting up and going and all of the printed materials that we need to be able to do the work that we need to do here tonight. So thank you. And then finally, if we have any former school board members in the audience, if you guys would like to stand as well. Thank you for being here tonight. And I will introduce Dr. Sarin, who is going to give us a strategic plan update.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for being here. I know it is a rainy night and it's a Monday, and I just appreciate everybody's support as you're coming out and considering the school district's annual meeting, including the levy. All right. First, I'd like to formally recognize the Board of Education on behalf of the administrative team. So in the state of Wisconsin, and really the nation, it is a complex time. And the Wisconsin Association of School Boards recognizes this week, the 5th through the 11th, as a week of appreciation for really volunteers that decide to be able to serve kids and families and all the municipalities, including the 10 municipalities for Sun Prairie, of school districts. And so it's not only just in general a complex time, it's a politically complex time, it's a financially complex time. It's a complex time with rapid acceleration for technology, including artificial intelligence. It's a complex time for inequity across our nation as the middle class continues to erode and disappear. And whether you're talking about healthcare or housing, whether you're talking about access to healthy nutrition, or whether you're talking about mental health, the needs are greater than any single school district can do on their own. And so what is an example of tonight is the community coming together on behalf of kids and families, because we just can't do it alone. And we just appreciate the board's leadership and the community's support. And so please, I know that we clapped for everybody, and I was grateful for Bryn for introducing everybody, but it is School Board Appreciation Week. And so please join me in acknowledgement and recognizing the board. On behalf of the administrative team, we just appreciate your service for our kids and for our families. We also have student school board members in the Sun Prairie Area School District. It's a part of the board's commitment to be able to be grounded in student voice. It's something that was started probably 7 years ago, and we've continued to really focus on uplifting and engaging our students. And so would student school board members please stand up? Let's give those leaders a round of applause. Thank you. School districts are naturally confusing. Really, any organization is naturally confusing. And so we might have one school that wants to go in one direction. We might have another school that wants to go in a different direction. We might have hired a new principal that wants to go in one direction. And maybe an athletic program wants to go in a single direction. And then we might have a superintendent that comes in and wants to point in a completely different direction. And the role of a strategic framework and the role of the board is really giving us a single direction around which to direct our strategies and our goals. And so when we have coherence about the destination we're working to achieve, we're working to make continuous achievement and progress toward, because we've been gifted that by the direction of the Board of Education, it really does help the school district. And so this update to the community about that direction is really something that is about alignment. It's about alignment of the 15 programs, 15 campuses that make up the Sun Prairie School District. It's about the programs like our 3-year-old program and our 4-year-old program and our adult transition program, in addition to the campuses that we use to serve the students and families of Sun Prairie. And so we're really talking about alignment. And so this framework was grounded in community feedback. And so during the 2021-2022 school year, for the 22-23 school year, we did a ton of engagement to try to establish what the community expected. And from there, we also focused on what values do we tap into to try to make sure that we are making decisions that are in line with community expectations. And so our community gave these core commitments to the Sun Prairie School District and to the Board of Education to be touchstones about how we make decisions. And so when we have the gift of understanding community expectations and the board integrates those into OEs, which are operational expectations, it's how the school district runs, operates, and SRs, which are student results policies, and then ORs, which are operational results policies. What the administrative team has the gift of doing then is integrating that into our scorecard, which is just a dashboard of goals across the system in order to help us make progress toward the board's expectations that are captured in operational expectations, student result policies, and operational expectation policies, which are really connected to community expectations. From there, then, we do it's a technical term, it's called a cascade. But we cascade all of those goals and all of those strategies to schools and departments. And so what the community expects, what the board is monitoring for continuous improvement around, and what the administrative team is working on through that cascaded strategy all has a line of sight. And so this really does align to community expectations and the board monitoring the system to make progress toward those community expectations. And so our theory of action is this, is that aligned changes in adult actions, and we capture those in scorecards through goals and strategies, immediately precede changes in student outcomes. And those student outcomes are aligned to board expectations, but they're also funded by an aligned budget. The budget breathes life into the strategies that we're implementing across all of our 15 campuses necessary to meet the board's expectations, which are really the community's expectations. And so our dashboards are complex, but we put everything out there. And so this, of course, will be posted at our website, and all of these items are on the website. But I want every single person in this room to know that all of our scorecards for the 24-25 school year are captured right on our website. You can put your cursor, if you bring up sunprairieschools.org and you put your cursor over district, a drop-down menu comes up, and there's an option called Strategic Framework. You can click on that, and you can see last year's dashboards, all of the scorecards that involve the district goals, the department goals, and then the aligned school goals for all of our 15 campuses. We've also simplified those scorecards because they're technical documents that involves the school district trying to make sure that we are cascading those goals in a way that represents the complexity of the system that we're serving. We've also stripped those down and made them into more simple documents, and we're calling them dashboards. This was also a requirement of the Board of Education. And so in that same link, you can see all of the dashboards, which are simplified scorecards, and you can get a feel for how is the district doing by those dashboards. In addition to that, you can see the aligned monitoring reports. The monitoring reports are the reports that the administrative team submits to the board to try to, well, to make sure that the board knows how we are progressing toward the board's expectations. And so while they're not done yet, because we have to finish our universal screeners, our Ames Web universal screeners, we've also uploaded the frameworks for the 25-26 scorecards, so you can take a look at those. So those are all of our goals, all of our strategies, and all of the results across all 15 campuses and all departments that every single person in the Sun Prairie community can take a look at to determine, are we making progress? And so I just wanted to make sure that this community knew that, and that you could all log on to the website and be able to tap into that. Now, we do a strategic budget, and so more than 75% of our budget is based in salaries and benefits. And so what the board and the administrative team does then is aligns the resources that we have been gifted by our community to the goals that the board has set for the organization. So the budget is just a reflection of the goals that the board has set out for us, and the administrative team is actively working to achieve by cascading those strategies across all of those classrooms that make up the Sun Prairie School District. So the strategic plan is aligned to the board's results policies and operational expectation policies, and the budget is just a way to shepherd resources to the strategies necessary to meet the board's goals. And so we want everybody to make that connection between the community's expectations, the board's goals, the strategies, and the revenue and budget necessary to achieve those. And that's in part what tonight is about. And so I just want to end this update to the community with gratitude. I know it's a complex time. The administrative team knows a complex time. We're grateful for the board's leadership in a complex time. And it's also not lost on any single person in the Sun Prairie School District that just last year, our community supported the organization by passing a referendum. And so we're not only grateful that you are in attendance tonight, but we're also extremely grateful for the ongoing support that this community, all 10 municipalities, has shown the Sun Prairie School District as we look to achieve the board's results, which are really the community's expectations. So thanks, and from here, I'm going to turn it over to our new Director of Business and Finance, Matt Clark, to begin his presentation. Thanks, everybody.
I'll be 2 minutes.
Yeah, so first, before Matt has to go, we have our school district attorney, Lori Lubinsky, who is going to talk us through the rules around the meeting.
Thank you, Bryn, and thanks to everyone for coming. In your program, I just want to alert you, we have an agenda on page 4. We will follow that agenda along. We're on point number 2 for those of you following at home, wherein I will review the procedures under which this meeting is conducted and the qualifications for voting. We will then go to Matt Clark for the budget hearing of the meeting. On pages 14 and 15 of the program, that outlines the state statute that is applicable. That state statute, it's 120.08, and that statute in essence outlines, and 120.10 outlines the powers of the annual meeting. We are in an annual meeting. This is official business of the school district. As Bryn noted, it has been published as such. We will have various motions that are made as set forth in the state statute 120.10. The annual meeting has certain powers. And so you'll see in your agenda under new business, item 7, those are the 7.01 through 7.05 are the various motions or the various topics that will be discussed. And those are part of the powers of the annual meeting. In order for anyone tonight to be eligible to vote during this annual meeting, and we will have voting, all right, you need to be an elector, meaning that you need to be a resident of the Sun Prairie Area School District, and you must be eligible to vote. Meaning, of course, that you are a U.S. citizen, you are 18 years or older. There's a statutory process for challenging somebody's eligibility to vote at an annual meeting. I doubt we will need that tonight. Finally, we typically do our voting at annual meetings via hand or voice vote. We do have ballots that are to the left of me, to the right of all of you, that if necessary, we will pass out ballots. And then finally, Shandu wanted me to remind you, where's Shandu? That there is, up in front of me, a white pad of paper that if anybody wants to speak or say something during the motion part of the meeting, you need to come up and fill this out, correct? And we will take it up here. Those are the procedures, and I will be up here to make sure we follow along in the requirements under the law. Matt? There we go. You have a question? The ballots or the speaking? Have we historically had those? Shandu says yes. All right, Matt?
So we have to elect a chairperson first, so.
Oh, now I'm jumping ahead. So the next, as set forth in item 3 of the agenda, I apologize. We need to elect a chairperson to conduct the budget hearing and annual meeting.
And I'm here to put forth a motion. My name's Tracy Frank. I'm a resident of the Sun Prairie Area School District. I'd like to nominate Lisa Goldsberry, resident and former school board member of the Sun Prairie Area School District, as chairperson of tonight's annual meeting.
Okay, there's been a motion. Is there a second?
My name is Christy Yang, resident, Sun Prairie, second.
All right, there's been a motion and a second. One moment. Okay, I'll just grab this mic. Further discussion on the motion? Yes.
Carol Albright, 865 Jericho Lane, Sun Prairie, Wisconsin. I'd like to nominate Tom Weber to be chairperson for this meeting.
All right, there's a motion to elect Tom Weber as the chairperson for the meeting. Is there a second? Nominations are open. Yep,
Mary Ellen whoa.
that's okay.
Mary Ellen Havill-Lang, 3013 Bunker View in Sun Prairie, and I'll second Carol's motion.
There's a motion and a second. Are there further motions to elect a chairperson? Yes.
My name is Taryn Peterson, resident of Sun Prairie. I nominate Sunshine Anderson as chairperson.
All right, there's been a motion to nominate Sunshine Anderson as the chairperson.
My name is Lisa Goldsberry. I am also a resident of Sun Prairie, and I will second that nomination.
All right, there's been a motion and a second to nominate, I apologize. One more. Sunshine Anderson, thank you, Sunshine Anderson. Are there further motions? Last call, further motions? All right, so we have 3 motions on the table. We will take those motions in order. Do you want to do ballot? One moment. We're going to pass out ballots. We have 3 options for electing the chairperson. You will each receive a ballot. And so we'll pass those out, and then we will collect them, Nick, right up here, center.
So people in each row have typically come down and put them in the ballot box.
Very good.
So based on, so that section will vote in the orange box, this section will vote in the yellow box.
Can you put the names up so we can see? Thank you.
Is there any way to put the notes up here so that they can see it? I can read them off one more moment. Lisa Goldsberry, Tom Weber, and Sunshine Anderson. for those of you that want me to review the names, there are 3 options: Lisa Goldsberry, Tom Weber, Sunshine Anderson. And maybe I'll repeat that in 2 or 3 minutes for those of you that are still getting ballots.
Also, I'm Lisa Goldsberry. I would like to decline the nomination if that's possible.
All right, Lisa Goldsberry has the right to decline, which is her right. So you will be, and did anyone put a ballot box in that needs to change it? Okay, so we've got Tom Weber and Sunshine Anderson.
I have a question.
Yes.
I am wondering if people would like to speak to their motion, because I don't know who these people are.
People are not required to speak to their motion. However, if somebody would like to speak to their motion, they are certainly eligible or able to do so.
I seconded Sunshine Anderson just because I would like to see the chairperson be somebody unbiased and neutral.
Okay, thank you, Lisa. Would anybody else like to speak? Yes.
Hi there, I'm Sunshine Anderson, that mystery person. So just to give you a little context, I think that's fair to ask for. I am a childless resident of Sun Prairie. I just attend and watch a lot of city meetings, so I generally understand how they work. And I haven't gotten into any big partisan things lately, so yeah.
It is good to put a face with a name, so thank you for standing up. I appreciate that. So again, as a reminder, Tom Weber, Sunshine Anderson. Okay, I asked if there was anything further, so. I'm just going to give it about 1 more minute. I think the last person put their ballot in the box, but I want to give everybody one. Oh, we've got a couple more coming. Sorry about that. You're good. Could anyone please speak up if they have not turned in their ballot and intend to do so, that I just know if I'm good? All right, just 1 more minute, last call for any ballots. We will be collecting them and we will be tallying them. I'm not seeing anyone else that's walking forward. Once the chairperson is elected, you don't have to stay. Oh, we get music. Hey, Brad, is this your water bottle up here? No, I don't need it. Okay. I'm just gonna put it over here just so. Okay, the votes have been tallied, and Sunshine, where are you? Come on up. And for anybody that's interested, we will be keeping these ballots just for record-keeping purposes. Shandu has added them up, and so Sunshine, I'll have you sit right next to me. And if I could just confer with Sunshine for 30 seconds, and then we will be on with our agenda. I'm sorry? 64 Sunshine, 54 Tom, and Lisa, despite your withdrawal, you got one. Yes, absolutely. All right. So what we'll do is we'll follow right along here. If you want to go right in here, I will just take us from agenda item to agenda item. But okay, so next, again, following along, we're going to be under item number 4, and finally, where is Matt? I tried to get him up here earlier, but come on up, Matt. Yeah, you bet.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Matt Clark. I serve as the Director of Business and Finance for the Sun Prairie Area School District. Tonight, I'll be presenting the 25-26 proposed budget and highlighting the key factors behind it. First and foremost, I want to note that components of this budget were discussed during multiple school board meetings leading up till tonight, which included a public hearing that was held on July 28th. The board then approved this proposed budget on August 25th. And also just a reminder that all school board meetings allow for public comments. And we encourage the public to come and participate, especially during the budget building process. So how are school districts funded? in the state of Wisconsin. It's a little complicated, but I want to go through this, and the formula below is going to guide our discussion. So it's important to understand how this works, and really the revenue limit is what starts the whole formula. This caps the total funding we can receive through a combination of state aid and local property taxes. As you can see from the formula below, once we know our revenue limit authority, we then subtract state aid, and the remainder is what becomes the revenue limit tax levy. Aid and tax levy have an inverse relationship, which means when aid goes down, the levy goes up, and vice versa. This system has been in place since 1993 when revenue limits were created. So what is a revenue limit? The major factors in this formula include resident student membership multiplied by the state per pupil amount. The prior year revenue limit base is also factored into this equation. Although that gives us our revenue limit authority, which is the starting point for determining how much funding the district is allowed to receive, we don't know a lot of these factors until October 15th, and specifically our pupil count held every third Friday in September. Speaking of enrollment, our proposed budget that was approved back in August was based on a projected decrease of 8 students. This was derived from the UW Applied Population Lab enrollment projection, which is linked in our presentation. However, our actual third Friday in September pupil count that we held a few weeks ago showed a larger decrease of 76 students from the prior year. The caveat with this is that the revenue limit formula, which starts our whole formula for budgeting, is based on resident membership FTE, which is not just enrollment. Membership includes things like summer school and students attending elsewhere through open enrollment who reside in the Sun Prairie Area School District. Because our previous 2 years saw strong growth, it's also important to note that membership is averaged over 3 years. So while we have a decrease this year, our 3-year membership average still increases by about 60 FTE from the prior year. This helps soften the impact of this year's decline, but this decline is something that's noteworthy and something that we'll continue to monitor. As you can see on this graph, Sun Prairie's enrollment has steadily increased over the last decade, with the exception of a couple small dips during COVID, as well as now this year. Another important trend that we monitor is our economically disadvantaged student population, shown by the green line on this graph. That number has also been increasing, and we keep a close eye on it to make sure we have the right services and staffing in place to support these students. So moving on to the state budget. Every 2 years, the state approves a biennial budget for the next 2 years. So for the 2025-2027 biennium budget, I went through at our July public hearing in detail all of the factors that came out of that budget. I'm going to go over the 3 key pieces that I want to make sure I communicate to you tonight. The first one being equalization aid. So the state budget in July provided no new funding to the statewide equalization aid pool, meaning that more of the cost to educate students now shifts to local property taxpayers. While Sun Prairie will still receive more aid than last year, it's $2.5 million less than we anticipated, and that shortfall must be made up through our tax levy. This goes back to the formula that I started the presentation with and is again below on this slide. The less state aid we receive, the more the levy has to make up for. The state budget increased per pupil open enrollment funding. That's another factor I want to talk through today. This impacts districts differently depending on if they are a net in or a net out open enrollment district. Districts receive money on a per pupil basis when students open enroll into their district and incur an expense when students open enroll out. Since Sun Prairie is an open enrollment in district, this change will actually result in a projected additional net gain of about $60,000 in our final October budget. The last point I want to cover is the increase to the special education reimbursement rate. All special education costs go through what's called Fund 27, which is separate from our general operating fund. Fund 27 by law has to end each fiscal year at net zero. This means that any shortfall between special education expenses and the reimbursement rate has to be covered by our general operating dollars in Fund 10. Historically, this transfer has been over $15 million per year, which is why this is so important. This state budget raises that reimbursement rate from 33% to 42% in 25-26 and 45% in 26-27. But it's important to understand that this funding is provided on a sum certain basis. That means that the state gives a fixed dollar amount regardless of the actual costs, unlike a sum sufficient funding method, which would cover the full cost of special ed funding. Because of that, districts oftentimes receive less than what's promised to us. This was the case last year when we were told we'd be receiving 33%. In actuality, we ended up only receiving 30%, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you put a dollar amount on it, that amounts to $750,000 less than we were promised. So for budgeting purposes, we're conservatively planning for 39% opposed to 42%, and then 42% instead of 45%. Either way, this is a step in the right direction in terms of special ed funding. This will provide us with over $2 million more in reimbursement revenue from the prior year, which then reduces the need for Fund 10 support by that same $2 million. That said, we won't know the actual rate until the end of this fiscal year, so we'll continue to monitor that. I touched on equalization aid and how there's a formula associated with that. The major factors that go into that formula include shared costs, which is how much the district spends per pupil, enrollment trends within the district, the property wealth of the district, and the state's overall allocation of equalization aid, which again is going up $0 over the next 2 years. We've also been dealing with inaccuracies and late reporting on financials from other districts in the state of Wisconsin, especially a couple large ones. This does impact our projections and how we're able to budget going forward, so that's been something that we've been working through as well. It's also important to note that equalization aid does not increase the district's spending. Instead, it's used solely to lower property taxes, as seen in the formula below. Each year, DPI comes out with a July 1 aid estimate using all of the relevant factors that I just went through. This July 1st, the estimate came in just over $62 million, which is an increase of about $1.3 million from the prior year. Again, this final number won't be set until October 15th. So in Sun Prairie, it's important to us to be able to translate the district's vision, mission, and goals into financial planning through strategic-based budgeting. Our strategic-based budgeting process begins each year around this time by identifying strategic goals. For 25-26, this started last September with our senior leader budget team, who focused on aligning resources with high-priority strategies, improving budgeting and staffing timelines through our approved budget calendar, and using comparable and long-range data from Forecast 5 and Robert W. Baird to guide our planning and discussion. For 25-26, our strategic budget items are listed here. We have new investments from referendum funds that include DLI transportation, expanded dual credit opportunities, and high school supports. We're also prioritizing compensation and benefits for staff, totaling about $1 million. These funds are aligned with referendum funds that were communicated to the public. Class sizes remain within or close to our district guidelines. These guidelines are what help aid our decision-making each year in regards to staffing. And these numbers are numbers that we're monitoring on a daily basis, especially in the summertime, between both the business office and human resources. Keeping class sizes manageable helps ensure that we have a strong learning environment for both our students and our staff. Each year, we experience staffing changes, both in and out. And for the 25-26 proposed budget, the net staffing change is an increase of 9.15 FTE, which is summarized in this chart on the left-hand side by category, and on the right-hand side by the reason for this addition. One of the comparable data points we looked at regarding staffing is our student-to-staff ratio compared to our Dane County peers. As you can see in this graph, the student-to-staff ratio, which is represented by the orange dot, kind of hard to see, with the exception of 3 other districts in Dane County, Sun Prairie has the lowest student-to-staff ratio, which is something we're proud to be able to say and something we continually monitor. So salary and benefits are a matter reserved for school board action. This budget includes all board-approved compensation and benefits for 25-26. In May, the board approved a 2.95% salary increase for all staff, with professional development opportunities potentially raising some increases to 3.95%. Included in this budget are also our budgeted benefits. So we have health insurance, dental, WRS. The increases are shown there along with the dollar amount. Health insurance specifically has been something that's continuing to rise nationwide, but within this budget, we have 5% that's realized in this fiscal year and then 10 in the following year. Putting all of that together, we are happy to be able to present a balanced operating budget with revenues and expenditures equaling $162.6 million. The district's total budget, which includes all other funds outside of our general operating fund, like special education, debt service, capital projects, nutrition, and community service, totals $221.3 million. So we have our general fund levy, but we have other levies outside of that, so I want to touch on those. Our debt service levy is for our prior referendum approved debt payments. The $9.4 million of debt levy funds, again, are for voter approved building projects, and these levy funds are to cover the required payments that we need to make each fiscal year. Our community service levy. This levy funds community programs like community schools, our after-school custodians, performing arts staff, and pool managers. This levy is budgeted at a little over $1 million. Bringing all the levies together, our total levy is projected at $93,044,983. This is an increase of 7.45%, and our mill rate is projected to be at $10.29, which is an increase of 1.28%. Again, the key word here is projected. These numbers won't be final until October 15th, and the board will approve those numbers at the last meeting in October. I wanted to include this slide in the presentation because it's becoming more and more prevalent. The cost of voucher programs work like this. The money is included in your tax levy. The district collects it on paper, but we never actually see or spend these funds. Instead, that portion of the levy is deducted from our state aid and then sent directly by the state to the private schools. So, in other words, it shows up on the district's levy, but it's not money we control or use. It's simply routed through us. The cost is ultimately covered by local taxpayers, but we are the middleman in the transaction. And this year, the cost of vouchers to our taxpayers is about $1 million. Statewide, districts are seeing this increase, so it's something that we need to continue to monitor. This is a look at our mill rate over the last 5 years, and a lot has happened in the last 5 years. We've had new buildings, referenda, enrollment increase, property increase, but our projected mill rate is increasing slightly from the prior year, from 1016 to 1029 projected. Fund balance. So maintaining a healthy fund balance is a key part of the district's financial strategy. Fund balance protects us against unexpected costs, serving as a rainy day fund. It reduces the need for short-term borrowing for cash flow purposes, demonstrates long-term financial stability. This graph shows how Sun Prairie compares to other large districts in the state. The bars represent the dollar amount of our fund balance, and the purple dot shows the percentage of our budget that is fund balance. The purple line is the group average. So as you can see, we are in line with the group average in terms of fund balance percentage. We'll continue to prioritize growing our fund balance as it is becoming more and more important given the uncertainty in state and federal public school funding. So next steps in the budget process. On October 15th, the state releases the official state aid amount. We'll then update the budget with the final aid and enrollment amount, and the board will adopt the original budget by October 31st. I want to thank you all for being here and supporting our district. I'm happy to take any questions.
Hello. I have a question about the budget. Hoping you can help. I actually have two questions. So, my name is Tracy Frank, and I'm a resident of Sun Prairie Area School District. So, in 2011, based on open records requests, in 2011, 2012, our district staff and administration support staff came out to be $1 million of the total budget. In the year 2023-24, that was at $4.1 million. So that's an 11% growth rate of annual growth rate within the budget for administrators and administrative staff. At the same time, average teacher salary went from $49,000 to $61,000, and that represents less than 2% yearly growth rate. Can you explain that discrepancy to us as taxpayers, the discrepancy between the less than 2% yearly growth rate for teacher salaries and the over 11% growth rate for administrative staff and administrative support? That's my first question.
Yeah, and I would have to go back to look at those numbers and what transpired. I mean, we could have been adding administrators or adding teacher staff or vice versa. So there's a lot of factors that go into those numbers, and if you're going back to like 2011, I'd really like to study that before answering. But I'd be happy to reach out to you with a more concrete answer.
Okay, great. And then my question is, what in this budget addresses a more balanced yearly growth rate for our teaching staff and our administrative and administrative support staff? How are we balancing that if this discrepancy is true based on open records requests that I made of the district? So if your records are true, how does this budget help with this discrepancy that has occurred?
Yeah, so we have the 2.95% that was for all staff this year. We also complete many compensation studies where we look at each employee group separately. There's a schedule for those. So being 4 months in, I can't tell you exactly where we are in that schedule, but it's something that we make sure that we're addressing. And then if there's a discrepancy, making sure that it's a strategic budget item that's within the budget, right? So again, I'd have to look at where we are on that schedule. The 2.95% is for all staff.
Yep.
So that is on top of the PD opportunities. So
it also depends on the number of staff, correct?
Correct.
And any new positions that are created
Yep.
at either of those buckets. And so I know that we've created a significant amount of new positions at the district office level. So that is a big part of this discrepancy if you go back and look at the records that I requested directly from the district. So how are we ensuring that new positions are, is there any efforts to freeze new positions at the district administrative level? Freeze hiring new positions.
Staff changes? Yeah. Seems to be done.
Are batteries out?
Yeah.
Did the keyboard arrows work or no?
No, I don't have it here. I'm trying to go back to the summary of the staffing changes slide because that does have the additions by category. And we do have in this 9.15 FTE, our professional educators make up 8.65. Again, the support staff, we have that kind of broken out there. So again, staffing decisions are based on need, right? So if we're in a school and there's high class sizes, we'll make sure to look at adding teachers, right? If there's a need at the district office, same thing. So it's based on need and it's based on the funds available. And within this budget, you can see the breakdown of the ads of the 9.15 by employee type. I hope that's helpful, but again, I'd be happy to answer in more detail.
Thank you.
Yep.
So I just want to clarify, that sounds like a no to freezing district positions, any new district positions. Because the specific questions was, is there any talk about freezing the creation of new district positions?
There's no administrative ads this year. So I guess like for the 25-26 budget, there was a freeze essentially. The fact that we added 0 FTE.
Please use the mic.
Because there's a 0 does not equate a freeze. A 0 just means we haven't currently added any. What we're asking about is a freeze saying we will not be adding any going forward as well.
Yeah, there's no plans to make any ads to administration. Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. So do we need a motion then to freeze it completely?
So no.
No.
So again, the motions that are the powers of the annual meeting are set forth in the agenda, as well as the state statute, which is right in the materials.
Hi, Shelley C., President, Sun Prairie School District. I'm curious if you can clarify or expound on why the raise in salary is the same for all staff, why it's district-wide 2.95%, and if there was any thought into, how we give these raises to classroom teachers versus administrative staff.
Yeah, there's always conversations surrounding compensation increases every year. Ultimately, that is a matter reserved for school board action, and the 2.95% was what was presented and approved.
So it was school board approved?
Yes, the board approves all salary increases.
Thanks, Matt.
Yep.
Oh, is there somebody? Oh, wait.
Jennifer Hansen, 671 Broadway Drive, citizen of Sun Prairie Area School District. Where in the budgets are we planning for expenditures relating to legal situations?
Yeah, so within Wisconsin School Finance and Accounting, we have an accounting structure, and there is an account code that is called an object code that is for dues and fees. Within that object, and then within the function that is related to whatever the legal fees were for, is where you'd be able to find those amounts.
Okay, I did request that through Open Records and did not get a reply. Can you share with me what the 2024 legal fee amount was and what we are currently facing in 2025?
I can't tell you that right now, but if you went through the open records request process, I'll make sure that someone gets back to you with those numbers.
Is that something that you have access to look up on your computer and share with us this evening?
I do not, but the minute I get back into my office this week, I'll make sure that someone gets back out to you.
Because what I have learned is that it is one GL code. So it is looking up one code.
There are multiple
In the
codes.
general ledger, it rolls up to one code.
Yeah, it's not the case because we have legal fees for like special education, for example. That's in a separate fund. And then depending on if there's legal fees for administration or a teacher or what, that's a different function. So they're completely separate account codes depending on what the fees are for.
I would like to make a motion that that information is provided at a school board district administration, no, a school board meeting so that it is shared with the public.
So again, the motions that are the proper subject of an annual meeting are set forth by statute. That is not a proper motion for purposes of an annual meeting. And again, you need only read the statute. You don't have to rely on me, and that is found on pages 14 and 15. That said, you can absolutely, sounds like you've already made a public records request, and Matt has indicated that he will ensure your records request is fulfilled. And then if you have future records requests, and I can, you wanted, I'm sorry, what was your intended motion?
That
One more time, I'm sorry.
this information
Be
is
shared.
shared
Yeah,
with
I
the
mean,
public. I mean, the public should know what these numbers are. And I did submit an open records report request.
Sure.
Did not get an answer. I looked at multiple years that I'd like this information for, and I would like it somehow to be made public. I myself am not going to make it public to the citizens of Sun Prairie who have a right to know what these numbers are and how the district is preparing for legal fees that may be coming.
all right, so again, what I'll say is the type of information you're requesting is definitely something that would be subject to a public records request. And as Matt has indicated, he will ensure that your request is responded to. I will personally tell you there have been numerous public records requests, and I know that Shandu and the superintendent office is getting to those in the order in which they were received. That said, I think you've made your point, and that is you want it somehow publicly available, and I think administration has heard that and will evaluate that. And that's, I think, the best that we can do tonight. Of course, I would note to everyone here that it is publicly available, so to the extent the public wants to know that same information, that information would be subject to public records request.
Is it appropriate to ask how the district is preparing for perhaps unexpected expenditures in the legal world?
You can certainly ask. Matt may or may not have the answer to that. That would be a proper question to ask.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so I'll just say that we always budget based on prior year activity and then any needs that we're anticipating for the next fiscal year. So for something like legal fees, just like any other part of our budget, we would look at what we spent last year, and then if we're anticipating anything that would require an increased budget, we would then address it at that point.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet.
Hello, Tracy Frank, resident of Sun Prairie Area School District. So twice the district's attorney has addressed people about motions, saying that this is not the time. I'm wondering if the chairperson can clarify for everyone in the room, when is the time for us to make motions?
Thank you. Oh, is this on?
Slides up.
All right, thank you for the question. When we reach item 7 under new business, that will be the point wherein motions would be appropriate. Thank you for asking. Specifically under 7.04, which is for other business as permitted at the annual meeting. And I believe as permitted would apply then to pages 14 and 15 for the powers of the annual meeting again. Thank you.
Is a public general comment allowed at this time?
As long as it's related to the topic.
As long as it's related to the budget,
It's
yes.
got to be related to.
So I think the issue for me, and I think Jewel Kavanaugh, I am a resident of Sun Prairie. My daughter graduated from Sun Prairie High School. And I think the issue is, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, we don't trust you 100%. We don't trust the school district. And I think what I need to say is, how do we fix this? I don't know the answer to that, but I think more information is probably going to be better than less. And I do feel that sometimes we get stifled in big words and, you know, levy limits and all of these things, when really we're just trying to say that we don't like how things are going and we don't trust you. And so I'm sure you don't trust us, and that's okay too. So where do we go from here, I guess, is just my question or comment as a public member. Thank you.
All right.
All right, up next, we are going to move to item 6, which is the Treasurer's Report by Amanda Davis, who is now coming to join us on the stage.
Hi, thank you for being here. The 2024-2025 school audit was completed by the accounting firm of Johnson & Block CPA. The fieldwork was completed by August 29th. The school board will review the audit in detail with the accounting firm in December or January. Complete copies of the audited financial statements will be available at the district office and on the district's website on or about December 22nd, 2025. All audit information required by DPI was completed in a timely manner. This concludes the Treasurer's Report for the 2025-2026 annual meeting.
Short and sweet, that is my kind of report. Thank you. Up next, we will move on to item 7, new business, and we will begin with 7.01, the set annual salaries of school board members for 2025 to 2026. All right. As a reminder, on page 13, there are sample motions. So there have been a couple of questions about what that should look like when that time comes. Again, that will be under item 7.04. So at this point, we are looking for a motion under point 701 to set the annual salaries of school board members for 2025-26. On page 13, we have an example of the actual costs, it looks like. Is that right? So looking for a motion. I see a hand over yonder. Could I get your name and your affiliation or address?
Del Menard, member of the school district. I made this motion probably 5 times in the last 10 years, and I found it interesting that there's been this delay tonight on this. But anyway, I move that the salaries of the school board officers and members for the 2025-26 school year be established as follows. School district president, $6,000. Other school board members, $5,000.
We have a motion. We now need a second. Would anyone second that motion?
Kalina Stephen, resident of the district, second.
All right, we have a second. Now we move into discussion. If anyone would like to speak to this, please come up to the microphones. All right, I'll give you, oh, yep, we got somebody.
I'll just add to the discussion that those numbers that were presented by Dell are the current numbers and have been the numbers in place for the school board for a number of years, just for anyone who's not aware.
I don't know if these people are coming up or just sitting down. Oh, they're coming up.
My name is Justin Smith. I'm a member of the Sun Prairie Community School District. And I believe personally that being a being a school board member is a higher calling, and they deserve to be compensated for all of the additional time that is required, especially, as the superintendent mentioned earlier, in complex times. But I would say for us as a community, this right now is our only time that we can show them that the inaction over the last year is unacceptable. And I feel like giving them the same salary without any change over the last 8 months of complete unsafe school inaction would be unacceptable. And so I move for this group to not approve that motion. Thank you.
So at this point, that we'll take that as a part of the discussion. We will still have to hold the vote for the motion that is currently on the table, which is for the $6,000 salary for the president of the board, and then $5,000 for other members. If it gets voted down, you are welcome to bring that motion back up. All right, more comment?
Yes, Christy Yang, just a comment for discussion. I would probably go with, I want to just third. There's no such thing as third, but what Dell said, because what Justin said is also true, but at the same time, we have 3 new board members, and I think that's unfair for us to hold them accountable for things that have happened in the past. And also our current older board member, have been working diligently as well, and I think just, give him the same salary is not asking too much for.
Thank you. All right, any last thoughts for the discussion on the motion on the table? Again, that is for the salaries to be $6,000 for school district board president and $5,000 for other members of the board. All right, seeing none, we're going to go ahead and do a hand vote for this, this motion. So those who are in favor of the motion, again, that motion is to pay the school board president $6,000 and other members $5,000. To say aye, raise your hand now, please. All right, you may put your hands down, and we will do the same now for nay votes. So if you are against this motion, please raise your hand now. All right, and you may lower your hands, and that motion does pass. Thank you. We will go ahead and move into item 7.02, reimbursement of the school board members' expenses. So page 13, number 2, we have another sample motion, should anyone like to make that motion at this time. Or another.
I can't see what you're looking at, but I'll move that we authorize payment of actual and necessary expenses of school board members when traveling and performance of duties with the, I forgot the language, but with the additive that travel be limited to conferences only for new board members.
We have a motion on the table to authorize the payment of actual and necessary expenses of a school board member when traveling in the performance of duties, with the addition that travel be limited to only new board members. Travel to conferences with new members. Thank you. Do we have a second?
Christy Yang, second.
Thank you. All right, we will open it up for discussion again.
Just for people who are wondering where that came from, like when I was on the board, there's about 3 conferences that we go to annually. I went 2 years in a row. Not a lot of new information is presented at these conferences. As a new school board member, I feel like I gained tremendously just learning about our governance model and things like that. But if you've been on the board for a long time, I'm not sure why you would still need to go, because again, there's not a lot of new information that is gathered from these conferences.
Carol Albright, 865 Jericho Lane. How do you define who is a new board member? Wouldn't you need to really look in detail at what conferences you've attended before? I think this motion is too vague and does not really speak to the issue.
Thank you.
Jen Davy, resident of Sun Prairie. I didn't see in any of the materials any clarification or monetary amounts to this. Are those published anywhere as to what amount of money we are talking about in reference to all of this?
Is it published anywhere? What? No.
It is not in the printed materials, it doesn't look like. How can we get that information?
How can we get that? Would it just be travel mileage expenses, hotel?
We don't know that yet. Forward.
Could you
Are
use
you,
the mic?
are you asking about previous cost?
Yeah,
Or
do we have
future?
any idea how much money we have spent on this or are approving as a community under this motion?
So I think the question, and we may or may not be able to answer it, is, I'll rephrase your question. Please tell me if I'm getting this right. On about an annual basis, how much money is spent for actual and necessary expenses of school board members to travel when performing their duties? Is that kind of what
Yes,
you're?
thank you.
Does anyone?
I can answer that question.
Sorry. One moment, sir, just one moment. Does anyone have an answer to that, a ballpark? We don't?
I'm hearing murmurs of records request.
Okay.
Yeah.
The answer I'm getting is, we don't have that off at the top of our head. Is that right? I think annually was the question. Whether you do it a school year annually or an annual, any idea? Okay.
So just to clarify, we have no tracking records of how much we spend on our school board to do this, and you're asking the community to make a blind call based on nothing from our school district. Thank you for the
I'm
clarification.
going to ask. Yeah. My name is Roger Federley from the town of Sun Prairie. I asked Matt that question a couple days ago, and he sent me a spreadsheet with that information on it, at least some of it. Why don't you give us that report that you gave to me? Yeah, I don't have it in front of me. Oh, okay, I do. Let's see, the adjusted budget for 24-25 was $123,700. Let's see, I think what the expenditures were, $79 actually was spent. Yeah. So for last year, 24-25, 79,000 was spent, 79,700. For this budget year, there's $196,000 in the budget. And I think that's way too much. I spent 9 years on the school board myself, and I didn't go to four conferences every year. About every third year, I went to a conference. So I think that probably since the amount that was spent for 24-25, 79,000, I would make a motion that that we approve that amount rather than 196.
There is currently a motion on the table, so this one will need to be voted on, but then if this one were to fail, you come back up and you make your motion again, all right?
I don't know if I can make it back.
Yeah.
That's valid. I will come down to you with the microphone, sir.
Okay, good.
Do you want me to?
Sure.
We're going to have a response to that
Yeah.
first and then continue.
Nick Rykoff, Assistant Superintendent for Operations. The $196,000 is the entire school board budget. Roger is correct. That does include the fees for legal notices to be published in the paper. That does include some other things that are charged to the school board. That's not all travel. I would say Roger's number is probably in the neighborhood. Again, if the board or the district wants to share that information more publicly at a future time, we can. We have to parse out things like legal notices, which are included in the school board's budget because they're the legal entity responsible for placing them. So we just have to parse out if the motion is specifically for travel. We want to make sure we're talking about that specific set of line items.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm Amy Atala. I'm a resident here. I guess my question would be if you had kind of a general idea of what was accurate, why you wouldn't have said that when the other person was asking you.
All right, we go ahead and continue with our comment here.
So I would just like to add a friendly amendment to my motion that each school board member only attend a specific conference once.
Okay, so the friendly amendment, I believe that needs a second, is that right? So that will need a, from the original seconder.
Second.
All right, thank you. So the motion on the table now is that we move to authorize the payment of actual and necessary expenses of a school board member when traveling in the performance of duties, with travel limited to each member attending one particular conference once. Is that correct? Each specific conference, so a particular conference one time. Okay.
Wait, just one moment. Can you ask her if she also?
Oh, do you also want the additive of travel limited to new board members? You want, okay, so let me do that. So the motion as it stands right now, I believe, has to include both it is limited to new board members and that each member may only attend a particular conference once.
Accurate?
So that is accurate? You want to leave it at that? Okay.
Is that accurate for you? Okay.
All right. Mel, you have the floor.
Thanks, Sunshine. Mary Ellen Havelang, 3013 Bunkerview. I stand in strong opposition to the amendment of this motion and to the addition that Lisa has offered. I was a school board member for 12 years. I attended the annual state conference annually. I learned a tremendous amount in addition to the classroom selections that each board member makes individually. There is networking with other board members in other districts where you learn what is effective in those districts. You make friends with those individuals and see them time and time again. I just strongly suggest that we do not pass this amendment. This is a volunteer position virtually for every school board member. If my boss at my job said to me, you can't attend any training, you can't go and learn new skills, you can't find out what's new on the horizon, how could I do my job? That's just, to me, it makes no sense. So I stand here in strong opposition to this amendment. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I would just like to comment in terms of the being able to collaborate with other districts. A year ago, Sun Prairie School Board actually created a coalition of Dane County school boards that meets, I believe, it was meeting quarterly to do just that, to talk about like what's going on in other districts, to come up with like some common goals and themes that we could all support each other in terms of legislation and those type of things. So when you've not been on the school board for a lot of years, you don't know the new things that come up. I just got off the school board in December, so I know that they have created so many other ways now that we collaborate with other school districts.
Hi, Erica Lee. I am a resident of Sun Prairie and a former teacher, and I would just like you all to know that teachers do not get to go to any conference that they would like to go to and have the district pay for it. They are expected to fill out a request, and they will be denied based on if you've already attended that conference before. So I disapprove of allowing you to go to a conference every single year.
I'd like to call the question, please.
Yes. Sorry, what was that?
Call the question to the vote.
Oh, all right. So at this point, we I think we have to close our discussion at this point, confirming? Yes, okay, so we need to close our discussion at this point as there was a move to vote. All right. All right, so objecting, I'm going to turn to my lawyer friend here.
So you object to the call to the question? Okay, what's the basis for your objection? Okay. You called the question. Will you allow permissive one person to speak? Otherwise, I'll rule on this. I'm just wondering, Ms. Frank, if you would allow one person to speak and then we will call the question? Okay. All right. The objection is sustained. You can speak, Mr. Tom? You can speak.
Didn't she say no?
She said no, and I'm ruling on the objection.
Okay.
Yep, go ahead. You can rule on the motion, that's fine. I don't want to step on any of their beliefs.
Okay. I'm being, okay.
I would just like to remind everybody that a few years ago when we were trying to apportion the board, they called the vote when a current school board member, Marilyn Ruffin, was trying to speak and did not let her speak. So
All right.
Precedence.
On the basis of precedence, although I like to hear everybody speak, on the basis of precedence, I'm going to say that we will go to a vote. It is going to be a hand vote, so the motion on the table right now, one more time, is to authorize the payment of actual and necessary expenses of a school board member when traveling in the performance of duties, with the travel limited to new board members, and those board members may only attend each conference, particular conference, one time.
Is that right?
Yes, sir.
I didn't hear that. Can you have him restate that?
Could you restate that louder or come up? Yeah, that would be appreciated. Thank you.
I want to object again to the calling of the question, this time because it fails for a lack of a second.
We had a second to our motion. Call to question? Okay, because it is not a proper motion, I'm being told it can move forward without a second. Okay, we've got another rising. I'm pausing because I am aware that these two are also lawyers, and I have a lawyer sitting next to me, and I am in a very strange position. I am a historian by training. I'm doing my best, folks.
Sure. Point of order, my name's Kathleen McDaniel. I'm a resident of the district. I moved here with the intention to send my daughter to Sun Prairie East in a few years. What version of Robert's rules are we following? Because under the most currently adopted version, a call to question requires a second and then a vote of the body. And I just want to make sure I understand what we're doing.
And I will fully admit, I don't have the Roberts rules in front of me, so I'm doing my best. And I trust your judgment. If I can have 10 seconds to look it up, I will. Let me recommend this. Ask if there is a second on the call to the question. There's going to.
Okay, so is there a second to the call to begin the vote?
I second that.
Okay, so we do have the second. The objection then, I believe, is overruled, so we are going to vote on the call to the question. Okay. Okay, so we'll go ahead and we're going to go to a vote to call it to question. So if you would like to, okay, I need you to repeat that one more time.
If they want to call the question.
If you want to call the question, please raise your hand. So we are voting on whether to vote, essentially. Okay, so if you would like to move to the vote, this is the time to raise your hand.
Okay, this one we might need.
Yes, if you would like to get to the vote, raise your hand. All right. Okay, hands may go down. If you are against going to the vote, please raise your hand now. All right, I think this should go to ballot. I think this should go to ballot. Yes, okay, hands can come down. We are going to go to ballot on whether or not to vote on this motion.
All right, they are in support of call the question, and no, and you can phrase it however you want.
Okay, so what we're going to do is yes. If you write yes on your ballot, you are saying you want to go to the vote right now, without further discussion. If you vote no, you do not want to proceed to the vote right now. Yes, definitely, yeah. We have music for it.
The reality is, Tom's going to speak, and we're going to get to it.
Yeah.
So if it's a no vote. But let me just quick look. All right. Order, call to question.
Ballots should be coming to you from district staff to where you are seated. Yeah, let's go ahead and raise hands if you have not gotten your ballot yet so they know where to come. Thank you. Looks like this front section here.
Yes.
Killing the apportionment motion was because the 30-day petition had expired, not because
I'm sorry, you've lost all reference. I'm doing some legal research. What?
the apportionment motion was killed because it wasn't formed within 30 days.
What are you referring to?
The precedent that was set.
Oh, what Lisa was referring to. I wasn't here when that was. Okay, got it. All right. Here we go.
One more reminder, yes means you would like to get on to the vote. No means you would not.
Yes. You got it. All right, here we go. Okay. There is a motion to call the question. It was seconded. A call to question requires a 2/3 vote according to Robert's rules. The reason for the 2/3 vote is to protect the rights of the minority. It also protects the majority because it makes more than one person takes more than one person to stop the debate. So they need to have a 2/3 vote in order for, which requires, Shandu, when I need to know. Yeah, but we'll get that by adding the two together.
Right, yeah.
Calling the question just means ending.
Well, the question is, can it be
Oh.
typed up on the screen so
They
that
can't
folks
get
can see it?
anything on the screen. We tried to get,
So no one can access the computer that does that? How is that currently being projected? Okay, just for an update here, we are looking for a 2/3 vote in order for the vote to proceed. Oh, didn't need to get so quiet yet. They're still counting. But while I have your attention, we might as well try my new set. Where does a cow keep its artwork? In a museum. You got it. Thank you. All right, back to your conversations.
so if the motion passes by 2/3, then we will take a vote on Lisa's motion. If not, it simply lets people keep talking.
Okay.
We will still ultimately, when people keep talking, it may just be Tom or two, three more people, and then we'll go back and get a motion and get a vote on Lisa's motion.
Okay.
My sense, and I could be
discussion
wrong, is we
reopened.
might have to have a ballot on Lisa's motion.
Right.
So this is just telling us, can a couple more people? That's
Yeah.
all this is.
Enough?
Yeah.
That's all right. Yeah. Good.
Why don't you wait, let them count, and then we can answer your
Am
question.
I allowed to jump in and
Yeah.
I can count too?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, I'm going to jump in then. So the question was, who is counting the votes? It looks like it's district staff. I think I'm allowed to jump in, so I'm going to jump in just to help with any transparency. Get it out.
You want. Bottom line is, people just get to keep talking, but hopefully we can.
So we had. Okay, so after accounting by district staff, followed by yours truly, we have 48 votes to yes, let's go to a vote, 65 votes to no, let's not go to a vote, so that reopens discussion. The motion on the table is still to authorize the payment of actual and necessary expenses of a school board member when traveling in the performance of duties, with the limitation of new members only, and members may only attend any particular conference once. Discussion is now open. You may use the microphones.
My apologies for making us go all the way through this. Pretty sure my comments are not going to be worth all of that necessarily. I'm Tom Weber, also resident of Sun Prairie, former school board member. I'd like to echo, first off, what Mary Ellen brought up as well. There's constant change going on within the realm of education, within the realm of governance, the things that are happening that affect the most important folks in our school district, and that's the school board members. I want my school board members who are representing our school district and making decisions on behalf of this community to be as educated and as up to speed as they possibly can be in a wide variety of ways. And so I do not want to limit their ability to do that. Nearly all school districts attend the state education convention every year. There is phenomenal updates and information that school board members learn there. The national convention is very similar to that. Limiting the continuous improvement of our school board members is a mistake in my opinion. Last thing relative to the school board budget conversation that was out there earlier, other things that I believe perhaps enter into that are the costs of board docs that allows us to all access information, agendas, minutes, wide variety of things on the web. I think maybe in that budget, WASB membership that provides a ton of services to the school board as well as the school district is probably also in there. So there's a number of larger expenses besides travel to conferences that are in that dollar amount.
Thank you. We'll jump to the other microphone.
I have a point of order, which people may or may not understand, which is part of this. I believe that it's a matter of accessibility to not have what it is that we're voting for visually available. There is no reason, I can help if it's tricky, to not pull up on that computer a slide that's other than this one. Someone just changed the slide, look at that. All you need to do is type what we're voting on, and that affects people with visual impairment or hearing impairments. That affects people who have never been to this meeting before. And I just feel like people need to be more clear on what it is that they're voting on, and that seems like a simple thing that should become part of regular practice, but I would request that it begin now.
Thank you. And could you, real quick, just for the record, are you relationship to the district
Absolutely.
or address?
Gina Pagel, resident for life.
Thank you. Okay, so just to clarify what that was about was using these 3 screens around the auditorium to type up what the current motion is. I personally do not have access to that. I'm hoping somebody walking back there means they might be looking into it. No promises, but thank you. All right.
Hi, I'm Melissa Rafferty, resident of the district. I'd just like to add that I too work for a government entity, and we as well cannot attend the same conference multiple times. There may be exceptions if 5, 10 years have gone by, but in general, we cannot attend it sequentially just to revisit the same people in the same environment. In addition, a lot of things are offered virtually now. I'm not sure if that's the case here, but that is always the default for us in order to save money. I'd also like to add that the only part that gives me pause about the motion as is the new members. I would just say possibly phrase it as members who have joined in the past 12 months or something like that so that there's no confusion. And I'd also like to say I would love to see this go to vote so we can work on even more important things that come next.
Thank you.
I'm a numbers person, so I just wanted to play with the numbers a little bit. So I think what we have established is that approximately $79,000 are spent a year on travel to conferences. There are 7 board members. That comes out to roughly $10,000 and some change per board member to go to conferences each year. And yet we have our student-facing staff saying they get $0. And so as much as I want a well-educated school board member, I think it was some of our school board members who spoke, who said they adopted this governance model because they don't know, and that this governance model gives authority to the people that do. And so I think the people that do would be our student-facing employees, teachers, things like that. And if we're giving them $0, I don't understand how we could justify giving $10,000+ to board members who don't have hands-on contact with students at all.
Thank you.
Erica Lee, Sun Prairie resident. Thank you, Tom. But I think in the classroom, teachers who teach the kids and know the curriculum, not who we want on our board, but in our classroom, to go to as many conferences as we can to learn and have you pay. That's worth the money.
Melissa Rafferty again. One thing I wanted to add as a reminder, if we do go to vote, is this is only for a year. This meeting will happen again next year. So it's not forever. And was I told I could make a motion to change the language from new members to 12 months members? I'd like to make that motion.
So Lisa would need to make the amendment, and then it would need to get the original seconder again.
I would like to make a friendly amendment to change the language from new members to members who have joined within the last 12 months.
I'll second that.
Oh, we need the original seconder again. Thank you, Melissa.
Second.
Okay, so the motion now on the table is to authorize the payment of actual and necessary expenses of a school board member when traveling in the performance of duties, with the limitation of members who were elected or joined within 12 months only, and members may only attend any particular conference once. Thank you. All right, any further discussion, or we will move into the vote? Oh, do we need to vote on the amendment? It was a friendly amendment.
friendly
Yeah, that's a
amendment
good
by
question, though. We need those hawk eyes on me. We'll start with a hand. Okay, so, oh, do I see one more person coming up?
You can continue typing, so we know what you're going to but Jennifer Hansen, last year I asked the question, and I see the verbiage has not changed. Define necessary. A $100 steak meal someone wants to eat may feel it's necessary, whereas someone may feel a per diem set by the school district for meals should be allowed, instead of the individual attending the conference deeming what is necessary and is not. So the verbiage of necessary is vague. And I brought it up last year. And the other point that I would like to make is, with this being on the list of actual motions that were going to occur at this meeting, the information of the amount definitely should be available.
Thank you. Okay. I've been scribbling, but you are welcome to take pictures of it. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Okay, not seeing any further comments, we're going to go ahead and move into a hand vote. The motion currently is to authorize the payment of actual and necessary expenses of a school board member when traveling in the performance of duties, with the limitation of members who have joined in the past 12 months
and members may only attend any particular conference once. So, if you would like to vote in, oh, I see someone's pointing. Joined. Joined, who joined, rather than elected. Okay, thank you. All right, so we will go ahead and proceed with the vote. This is a hand vote, and we'll go ahead and begin with the yay. So if you are in favor of this motion, raise your hand now. Okay, hands may go down, thank you. And now for the nay. If you are against the motion, please raise your hand now. All right, let's lower hands. I am so sorry, but we need to go to a ballot again. Genuinely, my bedtime is 8 p.m. I feel you. Okay.
It's really hard for you. You can. You can.
Would you, I'm willing to give it a shot. So
We could do it.
if that's what's being requested, I am willing to do it. I would like if I could get a second member of the audience to come and count as well, just so it's not my eyes only.
And what
One person per section, and I'll do, okay.
you could do is you could do this section first.
Oh, that's a good idea. Okay.
So that people aren't holding up their
So
hands
let's
the
go,
whole
we're gonna, yeah, this is a good suggestion. We're gonna go section by section, so you're not holding your hand forever and I'm not straining my eyes forever. So we're gonna do this vote section by section, counting the number of hands raised during the vote. So, looking at this section, we are on your right side of the auditorium here. If you are in favor of the motion, please raise your hand now. Okay, thank you. Okay, I have 8 in favor.
I got 9.
You got 9, let's count. Oh, you're way back there. Nope, okay, we're trying again.
One more time.
1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9. 9, okay, we have 9 in favor. And I'm gonna keep saying this just so that you can all do the math at home. All right, this section, the nay, please raise your hand if you are against the motion. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I have 11? Okay, 11. 11 no. Thank you. We'll go ahead and move on to our middle section here. So if you are in the central section, we're going to vote now. So if you are in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. Okay, I'm going to start in the way back. We have 28 in favor. You may put your hands down, thank you. Okay, we'll go ahead and say no's. All right, if you are against the motion, please raise your hand if you are in the central section. Okay.
Let's do it again.
Okay, all right, that's okay. All right, go ahead and shake your arm out real quick if you need to. Thank you, whoever turned the lights down, thank you. All right, the no's, hands back up in the central here, thank you. Okay, 1, 2, 18. Okay.
Did you get 18?
Yeah, we're good. All right, 18. All right, hands down, thank you. All right, last section here. We're on your far left. So again, voting on the motion currently on the screen. If you are in favor, hands up now, please. All right, we have 17. Hands may come down. And then if you are against the favor in this section, please raise your hand now. again.
I got lost.
Then do it again.
Sorry.
That's
One
okay.
more time, nose. Did you put the one way back there? The guy in
No,
the red?
you are in the shadow? All right, yep, that's
You see him?
26. I agree. All right, we have 26 against. We're doing our math now. 55. All right, we have 55 no. All right, so 20, so that'll be 37 plus 44, 54. No, are you kidding me?
Let me just one moment. Or should we do a ballot? It's up to you, because I think this is one. Let's triple check our numbers. 26, 36, 37, 47.
Yep.
That's 55.
There's 37.
47. We have 54 to 55.
Our vote is currently 54 yes, 55 no. Yes. Yeah. I trust that I did this faithfully, but I do want to hear from you. We good with that? Okay. Now we will need to proceed with another motion, as that motion has failed by one vote. This is why you're here tonight, folks, finger biting. Okay. We will entertain another motion at this time.
John Freund, resident of the school district of Sun Prairie. I would move that we we reimburse school board members for travel with a limit of $20,000 per year. You pick
Is that for the entire board or for each individual?
70. First of all, the fact that you guys don't have that number and you're asking us to vote on it is ridiculous. Second of all, $79,000 is over $11,000 a person. Nobody travels and goes to that many conferences. It's double what they get paid. So yes, $20,000
For the entire board. Thank you. All right, do we have a second? The motion was to authorize the payment of actual and necessary expenses of school board member when traveling in the performance of duties up to $20,000 for the entire board.
I second.
We have a second. Thank you. All right, we will open it up to discussion. All right, hearing none, I see a hand up. Would you like to make a comment? All right, we do have someone. Thank you.
Cassandra Truax, resident of Sun Prairie, and I'd like to thank the ladies in front of me for forcing me up here. I'm new to understanding everything that's going on with our school board. I have kids in the middle and high school here, so I'm a little late to the game, but I'm here. And I guess I'm not really sure what the board considers travel, so is there a limit on how many you go to? Do you just say, that looks like a great conference, I would like to go to that conference? What is the process in deciding how many conferences and where the conferences are? Because I hear there's 3, 4, something like that. I don't even know what they are, but this one state one. So if there could be some clarification for us newbies. Oh, good.
We're at further discussion. I do not have answers for you myself.
During my time on the board, it was a combination of what you just said, and then there was 3 governance conferences that we would go to each year. So it was Govern for Impact was one of them. I can't remember the name of the other 2. And so like you had people that had been on the school board for 10 years, and they went to those 3 conferences every year. In addition to that, if you found a conference that you were interested in, you can bring it forward, and then most likely they would pay for you to go. So it was a combination.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
Hi there, Diana McFarland, resident of the district. I'm on the board and I'm not voting on this one because I think it's your all decision, so I've been just keeping my hand down and my mouth quiet. But just, I wanted to answer the question about what are the trainings, right? So I've been on the board for 3.5 years. So in the 3 years, my first 3 years, we would go to the annual conference in Milwaukee. So that's the once a year, all the school districts in Wisconsin meet in Milwaukee. So we would drive. That one's a little less expensive. We'd each drive. Most of the school boards in the state will try to send somebody. Superintendent, school board members, as Mary Ellen talked about earlier, it's like a networking opportunity to meet other school board members around the state. So there's that one. And then there's wisdom sharing. So wisdom sharing is one of the governance model conferences that Lisa was talking about. Wisdom sharing is for boards who follow coherent governance, which is our governance model. I'll just speak from my own personal experience. I found the most out of that my first year, so I totally understand where Lisa's coming from, because you learn the governance model. You get to network with other boards who do the same processes. So you get to meet some other school board members, but there are people from Colorado, there are people from California, there's people from all over the country there. It's really interesting, it's really helpful. I got the most value out of it my first year. I went twice, I believe. Please don't totally quote me on that. But I feel like the second, it might have been 3, okay? I wanna be really honest. I know I went more than once, and the first year was the most impactful. I absorbed a ton my first year, and after that, probably less so. The third one that a lot of us went to was Govern for Impact. Govern for Impact is a governance conference that's a little bit broader. So it's about how to lead, but the coherent governance focus at wisdom sharing is really just for school districts. The Govern for Impact conference is for policy governance in general. So you'll have school boards there, but you'll also have credit unions, you'll also have like municipal sewerage districts there. The one thing we have to talk about in common there is how to be a good board member and how to be a good board. And so that one I actually felt like I got more use out of continually. So and again, I know I went at least twice. I think only twice, that one. But please, not promising that that's accurate. I think I went twice. That one I felt was very, very helpful because I would have questions throughout the year on how to do something well or how to do something right. And they seemed to get different people to come each year, whereas wisdom sharing was a lot of the same people each year. So Govern for Impact, I felt like was a more helpful, maybe ongoing experience. But again, is it something where like we could take turns? I feel like the board should probably be talking about this. We've been wanting to talk about it. It's been one of those back burner, like we need a better plan things on the agenda. Believe it or not, we've had a few other things on our plate lately, so it just hasn't risen to this is how we're gonna spend 2 hours of board time is to dive into that, but it's a worthy conversation. And these are worthy questions. And then the fourth one that was kind of like on the regular docket was NSBA, which is the national version of the state conference. And so if we think about, Wisconsin is 50th out of 50, or at least it was as of a couple years ago, in terms of closing gaps for students, right? If all the training we get comes from within the borders of Wisconsin, board members are not getting the perspective of what it takes to think differently. And so NSBA, I think, is a really valuable experience for board members. Probably, honestly, I would advocate for on a more ongoing basis, because in 1 year, you're not gonna get everything there is to know about how to be better. NSBA is one of those places that really inspires. But again, could we do like not everybody every year? It could be like worthy conversation, right? Worthy conversation. There was 1 year I went to something called Model Schools because it came up as like an interesting learning opportunity, kind of similar in vein to NSBA, something a little more national, something a little more inspiring to how to be better. That one wasn't geared just towards school board members. That one was just geared towards education in the K-12 world, and how do we be better in terms of educating students K-12. That one wasn't just for board members, whereas NSBA is just for board members. So some differences there. I hope that's helpful. Again, I'm not trying to sway anybody one way or another. I'm keeping my hands down on this one, but I do want you to have the information that you need to make an educated vote. So if anyone has more questions, I'm happy to.
I actually had a question for you, since you were there. Do you know how much these conferences cost per person, or how much they've been spending?
I really hesitate to guess. Here's what I would think. I would think it's, I want to look at Shandu. There's records for this, right? You could open record request this and get it accurate. I bet you could look up what a conference fee is, and then what an average, I'll tell you the pieces of it, and you can kind of think in your mind, but there's gonna be a fee for the payment for the conference. Then there's gonna be a fee for the payment for the travel. So if it's driving to Milwaukee versus a flight, right? So there's gonna be a fee for the hotel. Then there's gonna be, conference, travel to the conference, accommodations at the conference, so whatever the hotel fee is. A lot of times, like if it's, like wisdom sharing, if it's being held at a conference center or hotel, we'll try to be on site. So we'll pay for whatever that is. But that wasn't always possible. And then it'll be the fee for the food. So, I mean, I could take a guess that a conference might cost. Yeah, I know. I don't want to give you incorrect information. I'm not trying to be purposely vague. I just don't want to be incorrect.
And Diane, one quick question. Is food per diem or no?
No.
Okay, thank you.
So here's the things around the food. So it doesn't, anything with alcohol, not included, right? That wouldn't be included. Sometimes there's like meals where it's like a plated meal, like we're supposed to go to the WASBO luncheon or something like that. And some of those have different fees than like a normal lunch at a diner type place. So I think I'm gonna ballpark that's why the board hasn't had like a per meal cost associated with it. I try to be mindful is all I can tell you, and it'll depend on where you are, because there's a big difference between food in Wisconsin versus food in New York City versus food in, wherever you may be.
So this isn't a question at this point, but I'd just like to say to everyone here, we're here to make a vote. We're here to hold, this is our one chance to vote and give our opinion in terms of what we expend on our school board. This is our one chance to do that in a year. We have been given no information by the district. Our former school board president can't answer directly how much is spent on these conferences. I think that shows us that there hasn't been a limit put on this before, and so I'm supportive of putting a limit on it and supportive of us voting on this motion on the table.
I would be supportive of Mr. Freund's motion, and I just want to note that for a comparison purpose, the Sun Prairie City Council just spent several hours discussing their travel and reimbursement policy for elected officials. They allocate $4,300 for the 8-member body and $500 for the mayor. So as a point of reference, I would be supportive of this. I think it's substantially more generous than what the council allocated themselves, but I also recognize that school board conferences perhaps may be farther away.
All right, we have, one more.
Hey, Pamela Rundy, I'm a resident of Sun Prairie. I'm wondering if there is a compromise here that we could, in the spirit of transparency, and I know that open records requests do exist, it feels like a barrier. It feels like a lot of extra work for people to do in order to get information that should be readily available to us. If we could say up to $20,000 a year for the whole board, with the expectation that there is a public accounting of what is spent for the conferences, who is going every year, and just so that we have an idea of what kind of information they're getting, how they're bringing it back, and how they're sharing that information with people.
Okay, so that doesn't amend the motion, but it's a point.
But if the original motioner is interested or would be willing to amend their motion?
Yeah, you've got to come up and make that friendly amendment.
I would be happy to accept a friendly amendment to require the school board to provide information about how the money was spent and the outcome of those, or the information that they're able to bring back to the board. Candidly, they should bring back a report. So.
Okay, can we specify in what format that report is, just so there's no way to poke holes?
Written. Punctuated.
Written and punctuated. I's dotted, T's crossed. Okay, so Our original seconder, I believe, was Lisa. Will you second that friendly amendment?
I second that.
Thank you. Okay, so the motion, oh,
Can I just add one thing? That is part of the debrief now. We added that, sorry, Colleen Eulenkamp, current school board member. I added that as part of the debrief a couple months ago. We have a form that all board members fill out for our community outreach activities, professional development, conferences. The expectation of board members, and I remind them at the end of each meeting, is to complete that when you get done. Let us know the time, a couple sentences or paragraphs about what you did, so that I include that at the end of each meeting as part of the debrief. So we are including that now, assuming that the board members are completing that after their activities.
I think this is more of an overarching report for the entire board.
That part is not part of the debrief. The debrief is about what they went to, what they learned, and what they're doing. So part of that ask for the transparency about what they're learning at them is actually now part of our debrief.
Okay, I want to confirm the motion we have on the table is to authorize the payment of actual and necessary expenses of a school board member when traveling in the performance of duties up to $20,000 for the entire council and require a written community report the following year. Correct? Okay, thank you. All right, any further discussion? All right, seeing no one, we are going to go ahead and proceed to a hand vote. So we're going to say, raise your hands now if you are in favor of the motion. So that is the actual and necessary expenses up to $20,000 for the entire board this year and require a written community report after the year. So raise your hand now if you are in favor of that motion. All right, hands down. If you are against the motion, please raise your hand now. All right, the motion carries. We will proceed now. Thank you very much. So we will go ahead and move now to new business 7.03, where we set date and time for the 2026-27 annual meeting or authorize school board to set the date and time. So we will entertain a motion. Again, if you go to page 13, there is an example. And you are making the motion of whether or not you would like the school board to set that date and time or electors choose the date and time.
Maybe nobody wants to make a motion. It's so uncontroversial.
So if no one makes a motion, what do you do?
Ask somebody to come forward to make it. This is not okay.
I would like to move that the school board sets the date and time at a later date.
Do we have a second? The motion is currently that the school board set the date and time at a future date.
Second.
And what was your name?
Kalina Stephen, resident of the district.
Thank you very much. All right, we are open for discussion. Not seeing any track stars, so we will go ahead and proceed to a vote. So raise your hand if you are on board with allowing the school board to set the date and time of the 2026-27 annual meeting. Raise your hand now if you're in favor. All right, hands down. If you are against. All right, thank you, hands down. Motion passes, carries, there we go. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and move along now to point 7.04, other business as permitted at an annual meeting. So as a reminder, the things that are allowed or appropriate for the annual meeting can be found on pages 14 and 15. Yes. Oh, that's next on the agenda. That's 7.05. But 7.05 we're coming up on. But first we have to get through 7.04, other business as permitted.
Good.
All right, go for it.
All right. Colleen Stephen, resident of the district. I move that the electors of the Sun Prairie Area School District strongly recommend that no increases to administrative salaries, central service expenditures, or business administration spending occur beyond the prior year's levels until the Board of Education has adopted and made public performance improvement plans for senior administrators, including the superintendent, and has provided public progress updates on those plans. These updates should include the status of outstanding policy interpretations, board-directed actions, and any areas identified as out of compliance in monitoring reports. This advisory recommendation is intended to ensure administrative accountability while protecting classroom funding, teacher compensation, and direct student services.
Do we have a second?
Taryn Peterson to second.
Thank you. Can I take a picture of that so I don't misquote you? I won't read the entire thing necessarily, but we'll see. Thank you. Can I just have that? Yes. All right. Where's our typist? Do you need a picture? Come on up. Oh, you got a copy. All right, excellent. So I'll read that one more time, just so that we're on the same page. The motion that has a second is that the electors of the Sun Prairie Area School District recommend that no increases to administrative salaries, central services expenditures, or business administration spending occur beyond the prior year's levels until the Board of Education has adopted and made public performance improvement plans for senior administrators, including the superintendent, and has provided public progress updates on those plans. These updates should include the status of outstanding policy interpretations, board-directed actions, and any areas identified as out of compliance in monitoring reports. This advisory recommendation is intended to ensure administrative accountability while protecting classroom funding, teacher compensation, and direct student services. It was a long one, so I wanted you to have another opportunity to hear it. All right, yes, sir.
Just as a point of order, I don't believe this is business that's allowed by state statute at this meeting.
So Tom is right. However, we will proceed. Let me give my explanation. Tom is 100% correct. As outlined on pages 14 through 15 of your packet, it enumerates the powers of the annual meeting. This particular motion is not within one of the powers of the annual meeting. However, as I've done in other circumstances, and I have been involved in these, I do not feel it's appropriate to not move forward with the motion. If the motion passes, it may be a legal nullity. It is, as I heard it, advisory only, and I think that was part and parcel of the motion. As an advisory motion, if you will, if it passes, it's just that, advisory. So we are going to move forward with the motion. But Tom, I recognize your point, and I think you're accurate, but we will proceed for discussion and vote.
All right, we're open to discussion. Does anyone have anything to say to the point? We'll let our typist finish before we vote. You're okay.
Eric Lee, resident. Yes, I would love the transparency because I even am still questioning where and why unused curriculum was thrown in the trash and where our $2 million went.
For me, I'm in support of this for two reasons. One, because it does not cause harm to our students or to our faculty. And two, because we have had three we have had three separate operational expectations or student result policies that have come up and have been deemed, the district has been deemed out of compliance or have not met standards. And so as a community, I feel like we have a right to know what happens when that happens. Okay, you deemed it not meeting standards or out of compliance, but then what's next? And so I think when we're talking about transparency and accountability, this advisory helps the community to know exactly what happens behind the scenes, and this speaks directly to the transparency and accountability that the board has been promising us.
May I ask a clarifying question on the motion, please? Can you please explain what you mean by
the status of outstanding policy interpretations. And my name is Heather Dubois-Bournon. I live in Sun Prairie.
Thank you. I've attended a number of school board meetings recently where there have been operating expectations or monitoring reports up for discussion, and it's been mentioned several times that we are using the monitoring reports from prior years because we have not received the interpretation of the policy that the school board may have approved several months or half a year earlier, and so I'm asking that we get those through this.
Any additional discussion?
No, is it typed up there? Is it all typed up there?
Yep.
Is that what you, okay.
I just want to add, as the policy interpretations, based on my very rudimentary understanding, I've been a part of groups like Community Voices, Communications, I forget what it was even called, committee, and plans were put together. The public was involved. The school board seemed on board with it, and it's just sat. So why, as a community member, am I getting involved with this if 6+ months later, it's still just sitting? And I don't know how many others there might be like that out there. It just seems like that's a pretty simple thing to correct.
Any additional comments? Seeing none, we are going to go ahead and move into a hand vote. So one more time, the motion is for the electors of the Sun Prairie Area School District to strongly recommend that no increases to administrative salaries, central service expenditures, or business administration spending occur beyond the prior year's levels until the Board of Education has adopted and made public performance improvement plans for senior administrators, including the superintendent, and has provided public progress updates on those plans. These updates should include the status of outstanding policy interpretations, board-directed actions, and any areas identified as out of compliance in monitoring reports. This advisory recommendation is intended to ensure administrative accountability while protecting classroom funding, teacher compensation, and direct student services. So going to a hand vote now, please raise your hand if you are in favor of the motion on the table. All right, you may lower those hands. And please raise your hand if you are against the motion. All right, hands may come down. The motion carries. So as a reminder, it sounds like this may be legally nullified potentially, but at least it is an advisory recommendation. So thank you. All right, any other matters?
Thanks. Taryn Peterson, resident of Sun Prairie. I move that the electors of the Sun Prairie Area School District formally record a vote of no confidence in the superintendent of schools. This advisory action reflects the electors' concerns regarding the superintendent's leadership, repeated administrative failures, including incidences of staff misconduct, fiscal mismanagement, and the erosion of community trust. The electors urge the Board of Education to take appropriate action, including but not limited to a comprehensive performance review, discipline, or termination.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
All right, is there a copy of that? Okay, are you sharing that back there for typing? Excellent. So it looks like the typist is getting the motion. I will be honest, I didn't memorize it in that amount of time. However, we'll get it up there shortly. All right, we'll open it up to discussion.
Just once again, a point of order that this is not official business that's provided by statute. I think we've been here for quite an amount of time, and I would like to suggest to the chair that we limit discussion and motions to what is statutorily legal for this. All of this amounts to nothing more than grandstanding, and I, for one, have better things to do.
Unfortunately, with the meeting starting in the evening, it's going to run long. I get it. I'm exhausted too. I do believe, though, in folks' ability to speak. So I'm going to go ahead and allow this to carry through. But would you like to clarify?
I would. There are many venues for folks to speak. This is a responsibility of the school board, speaking at a school board meeting, so.
It's
I
a
will-
difficult
can I just-
one. Excuse me. Let's keep it civil. Let's please keep that civil and limit contact there. Thank you.
I would just like to say that no one is here under duress, and we are all free to leave at any moment.
I think given the tension in our district, making national news multiple times, this is a fair advisory motion. It has been stated as an advisory motion. The lawyer has stated that they will look into the legality of it. This is our one chance to speak. School board meetings, we have 3 minutes, and we're cut off in mid-sentence. It really is hard as an elector to have a voice, and so this is our chance to speak, and so having a chance to vote on an advisory measure, and it'll go where it goes, I think is appropriate.
Okay. So it looks like our motion is on the screen now. Is it not? Not entirely yet? Where is it? There we go. I want to give you just a moment to read that, and then we are going to move into a vote.
Point of order, just because it is in reference to a school district employee, if we could do a ballot vote.
Sure.
Because we have a lot of teachers in the audience, and I would not want them to receive backlash from this.
I will grant that. That is a valid concern. So the concern is about anonymity. So we will do this as a ballot vote. So as you are reading this, we will have staff begin to come through with the ballots. Thank you for that point. So remember, a yes is in favor of the motion as it is written. A no is against.
Orange, yellow, and red box. Yep, I think I've got my chart ready, so.
Am I allowed to snag one of these bottles of water?
Yeah, I think, I can't speak for that, but this is unopened.
Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
that was sitting up here earlier.
Did more talking than expected.
Yeah.
If there is anyone who did not receive a ballot who still needs one, please raise your hand. All right, seeing none, I'm going to count my best and most accurate.
Motion passed 68 to 45.
All right, folks, our motion passes 68 to 45. Thank you. Jennifer, quick question for you. Yes, Jennifer Hansen, the piece of paper you brought up here with a couple of points.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Is that right?
She was following. She's doing just fine.
Okay.
Yep, we're good. Any further motions? No, she
All right.
was just doing that.
Leave it at that. Okay, thank you. Thank you. We've got it for the record then. All right, any further motions under 7.04, other business as permitted at an annual meeting? Again, pages 14 and 15 detail those powers. All right, seeing none, we are going to carry along to 7.05 and set the property tax levy for the 2025-26 school year. So again, on page 13, there is a sample motion, and we will need a motion before we can continue.
Hi, my name is Jessica. I am a resident, parent, and former employee of the Sun Prairie Area School District. I move that electors of the Sun Prairie Area School District, pursuant to Wisconsin Statute 120.10 sub 8, adopt a tax levy for the 2025-2026 school year equal to the total levy for the 2024-2025 school year in the amount of $86,592,535. I further move, pursuant to Wisconsin Statute 120.08 sub 2, that the electors directs the school board to convene a special meeting of the electors to reconsider if the levy if and only if the board adopts formal performance improvement plans for senior administrators, including the superintendent, and publicly reports on implementation progress. The intent of this motion is to protect classroom funding while requiring accountability and transparency in district leadership before considering any levy increase. Lastly, I would like to request this as a ballot vote.
I heard two motions. I think she meant to only make one. Can you ask her?
It sounds like it's two motions.
And she said, I move. Is it all one?
Is it all one, or are those two separate motions, to clarify?
She said, I move twice. That's why.
My legal counsel is sharing the I move was said twice.
It is one motion.
One motion, thank you. Okay, and for a ballot vote.
I will second that motion, and again, for the same reasons that I said before, I move that it be a ballot vote, because there are a number of teachers in the audience who may or may not receive backlash depending on their vote.
Thank you. Now, do you have that motion written down for me to take a picture or copy? It's already up there? Amazing. Our typist, thank you. All right, I gotta get up there to see it.
I got to see it too. I just want to make sure.
All right, in case there's anyone who prefers to hear it. So it's a motion to the electors of the Sun Prairie Area School District pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute 120.108, adopt a tax levy for the 2025-26 school year equal to the total levy for the 2024-25 school year in the amount of $86,592,535. Further move, pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute 120.082, that the electors direct the school board to convene a special meeting of the electors to reconsider the levy if, and only if, the board adopts formal performance improvement plans for senior administrators, including the superintendent, and publicly reports on implementation progress. Is the intent can be, yeah, the intent is not necessary in the motion.
Your
Right.
intent statement was just your rationale, right?
Okay, thank you. Yep, perfect. Okay, so this is the motion as it stands. We are open to discussion.
I would just like to once again just say that we are really, really trying to protect students and staff as best as possible. And this is a happy medium where we're not saying no raises, no, no increase. What we're saying is, based on the advisories that we put forward before, that the school board now is on notice that we want you to take our advisories serious, because we understand those are just advisories. And so this is our way of kind of encouraging the school board to take the advisories seriously without doing harm to students or staff. It just postpones the money.
Further discussion?
I want to see this levy pass. My name is Kalina Stephen, resident of the district. I want classrooms fully funded and teachers well paid. I want our children not just safe, but to know they belong here and can thrive here. I want teachers supported and free to raise concerns without the fear of retaliation. This administration has not built a culture where that is possible. Instead, it's one built on fear, control, and silence. Do you know how many people told us they could not be here tonight because they feared retaliation? Staff, former and current, parents, even students, feared for their jobs, their roles as educators, even for their own children. Others have given up. They've left teaching, taken their kids to private school, or moved out of the district entirely. And many here tonight have faced that retaliation firsthand. Those of us in this room, we have engaged in good faith. Raise your hand if you have done any of the following: shown up to meetings, given public comment, attended committee meetings, joined those committees, took concerns to the administration, voted for new board members, took your concerns to those board members, ran for office, or applied for an appointment yourself. Keep your hand up if you feel those actions have changed how this district operates. We have done all the things, and we will keep doing them. But tonight, we are drawing the line. It's time to speak in the only language this administration seems to understand: power and control. And we, the people, have the power to control the money. That is the lever we have, and that is the lever we will use. They must stop treating this community like a bank who will continue cashing their bad checks without demanding accountability. Do not let them hide behind our children and teachers, claiming this move will hurt classrooms. It is a pause, not a stop. For too long, we've seen them use kids and teachers as a shield to avoid accountability. We've seen what happens when they ignore warnings, from declining student results to safety failures. And when those mistakes happen, it's not administrators who pay the price. It's our students and our educators. This administration, led by this superintendent, continue to flout the will of the board and this community, as if they are untouchable. They are not. Vote for the freeze. Tell the board to put performance plans on paper and show us the plan, the path to accountability. And we will be back by November 7th to release this money. Demand that this district serve every child every day.
Wondering about the motion and the timing and how that all works. The school board will set the levy, I believe, by October 31st.
Correct.
According to the state statute.
Correct.
And the levy cannot be changed after that point.
Correct.
And so I'm not sure if it's permissible to change a levy between now and October 31st. There's only a couple of weeks. I think there's some timing that is required in order to even call a special electors meeting.
There is.
Is this
Again,
motion?
The motion may be a legal nullity, but we're going to proceed forward. Tom, your points are well taken, and they're accurate.
And if the motion is legally nullified, then the school board will set the levy themselves, correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
That said, I think we are going to proceed forward with this motion. I just want to be very clear. Tom's raising legal issues that are there, but it is my advice to proceed forward, get a vote on it, and
Okay, so and if this is nullified, then the school board would set the levy on their own?
That is correct.
Okay.
and that is by state statute.
I find that to be a very important piece of information, so I want that to be clear to folks that this motion is going to carry forward. We're going to go forward with the vote on it. It is possible that there will be legal contest to it and it would be nullified, in which case the school board would then set that levy themselves. Just keep that in mind. All right, yes.
Matt Wire, Sun Prairie resident. I do want to question that 86 million. That is 93. The district is looking for 93 million in order to continue functioning. I understand looking to punish the current school board, hold them to standards. That is going to lose many jobs. We will not be able to offer the services that the school district currently is. We won't be able to offer more. That needs to be considered. That 86 will not allow us to continue in the current state we are in.
Thank you.
And I did kind of want to just do, I don't know if it's called a point of order, but a clarification that regarding what Tom was saying about the levy having to be set by October 31st. Today is October 6th, and so that gives us 25 days for them to come up with a plan of improvement and some action steps. We can set a new meeting for 2 weeks from today. So we have plenty of time to get this done.
To respond back to the man who just stood up and responded in the black shirt, as a teacher, I had to provide education to lots of students without any help from the district. So I had to make do with whatever I had, things for my basement, things that other people donated to me, things I found on Buy Nothing. So I think that the district can use whatever they have and try and figure it out.
Exactly. Erica Lee, resident, if we didn't just waste money and throw things away and spent it wisely, you'd have that money. That is a natural consequence. That's what we teach our kids.
Sharda Weber, Sun Prairie resident. I'm an educator not in Sun Prairie, but I have 2 children here, and who will be paying the consequences are children. Because it's not supplies. Millions of dollars are teachers' jobs. We're facing this all over the county with the federal government and the state government. I pay taxes too, and it's hard, and I want to acknowledge the difficulty in that, but I also want my children to have mental health services. I want them to have extracurricular. I want them to have teachers in the classroom. I don't want classes that are larger than 25, 28 kids. Kids pay the consequences for millions of dollars of money going away. And so I just, as a parent, as an educator, I think I would be doing wrong by not speaking up and saying that I owe it to my children to financially support kids. I don't want to lose these beautiful things that we have in these buildings, and the people who make that happen.
I just want to say that my reading of this is not that the money should be indefinitely withheld. It's not saying exactly this progress must be made, exactly this must happen, but that a performance improvement plan for senior administrators be initiated in the next couple weeks, and then there are reports on progress so that the remainder of the funds can be released. Given that this room has voted yes as a majority to the vote of no confidence, it seems like having some sort of formal plan in place would be the next logical step, and this is one way to make it happen quickly.
Hi, my name is Amanda Davis. I'm speaking as a community member.
I hear that some of you in this room are feeling unheard by our district, and I hear that you're feeling frustrated and have many other emotions. However, holding our district's funding hostage is not what is in the best interest of our students. It's not what's in the best interest of our staff. It's not what's in the best interest for many of your individual children here in this room. You have a board where 5 of the 7 members are new. Please allow the board time to earn your trust. Please do not hold our district's funds hostage, because that is only going to hurt who we really care about most. Thank you.
So I don't believe that this motion holds any funds hostage. It asks the board to do the job that we, as electors, would like the board to do. The board has the ability to call for a performance improvement plan at any time. And so this is the community asking for that time to be now. And so the board just needs to do that task, and the money can be released. I would agree, as an educator, I do not want this to affect our teachers or our students. 100%. I agree with everyone who said that. At the same time, accountability is needed now, and we're asking the board to take that accountability through this motion.
I find that my name is Victor Ujor, Prairie Area School District. I find that if I'm doing the job and I'm told I'm not doing it right, there are things I need to do to improve my job. And if I don't, this and that will go away. I'm more likely to want to do it than say, give me the money while we do things later. I don't agree with that second idea. If you've had a child in this district and your child has had a problem, you understand why we need to do something as opposed to sit quiet. What I found out about this district is that they talk and talk and talk and talk. As soon as you turn your back, they go back to the same old ways. Nothing gets done. Then we release the money, and that process continues. Nothing gets done. You come back and you talk again, and the talk continues. Nothing gets done. This is one moment where we can say, please do your job. This is not stopping the money. This is pausing the money to say, please give us a real prototype, a roadmap of how you're going to work and work right for our kids. If your child has not had a problem in this district, you don't know what it's all about. If your child has, then you might understand what the problems are. The days when people just talk and you go to them and have meetings and people talk and talk and you walk away, those days should be over. We should start a new time, a new era, where people can actually sit down and do their jobs, for goodness sake.
So I just want to respond. Again, my name is Lisa Goldsberry. I am a resident in Sun Prairie, but I'm also a parent. I have a son that has went through this district from first grade, and he is now a senior. We moved to this district in 2015. I applied to be a substitute teacher. My background is mental health. I worked as a marriage and family therapist in date treatment and for DCFS for almost 20 years. I came here with the idea of getting licensed and continuing that work. I became a substitute teacher and realized there were very few staff of color in this district. Not African American, very few staff of color. And I thought I could make a difference, so I decided to stick around. I worked for this district for 7 years. I was on every imaginable committee that you could think of. I was the liaison to the board for the secondary space planning committee that voted to build the new high school. I made suggestions. I came to, even as a teacher, I was never afraid of getting fired because I had a backup. Like they always need therapists, right? And so I wasn't afraid of speaking up. So I would go to school board meetings and I would speak against things that I saw in the school. I would speak against how staff was treated, children were treated, and I felt unheard. I ended up resigning so that I could push for more representation on the school board. Tried to apportion the board. That didn't work, to try to get more records. So I decided to show that you don't need a lot of money because, you know, I'm a single parent and I don't have a lot of money. They said people on the east side didn't have the finances and all this stuff, and so I tried to prove them wrong. So I ran for the board, and I ended up getting on the board, thinking now I have a seat at the table, I can make a difference. I was on the board for 2 years voting alone, like literally almost everybody was voting against me and Alan Foster on every decision that would have made a difference in this district. So I got fed up with that, and I stepped down, and I join with other communities and try to come up with other ways. I've been doing this work for 10 years, trying to find ways to hold district accountable for their failure to children, for their failure to staff. And so when I hear people say we're holding the money hostage, we're not holding, for me, the intention is not to hold anyone hostage, it is to hold people accountable. And by holding people accountable, for me, I'm holding school board members accountable. And I understand that some of you are new, but I've seen the recent votes, and you're voting the same way that the old school board members were voting, and so I don't see a change. I see a change in faces, but not a change in action. So this is to hold people accountable so that we see a change in action and not just faces.
Gina Pagel, Sun Prairie resident. I would like to propose a friendly amendment that would not require us to come together again in order to pass the levy. So I'm wondering if the original maker would be willing to get rid of the part that we reconvene, that if they do what you're asking, which is to make improvement plans, that then our levy is, instead of last year's total, what is needed in classrooms and schools this year, without other people having to come here and do this again. Because we showed up tonight, I am in support of passing the money that is needed this year, and I'm wondering if the original maker would be willing to make that change.
So we'll pause to ask if the original motion would be amenable to a friendly amendment. The amendment would be to remove the requirement to reconvene. So it would stay at the total from last year unless they were to implement the PIP that's referenced.
To clarify my intent, I would like the need for reconvening to be removed, and once the goal is met, that the levy be give me the number.
93,044,983 is the original.
Yes, please.
Okay, so I'm seeing a no from our original, so we're not able to make that amendment at this time.
Then I just would like to add that everyone in the room should know that that is an option should this be voted down.
Thank you. Yes, so that could come back if this, we'll proceed with this motion. If it is voted down, a new motion could be made with that as the amendment. We'll go ahead and let the folks who have been in line, those two, and then we'll come over here. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Anne Marie, and I have had 3 kids graduate from this district, and I have 2 children still in this district. I really appreciate Amanda's point about the school board is new, and I feel like there should be some leeway to give them some space to grow and continue to work on some changes. With that being said, Lisa's point is accurate. What does the voting look like? I'm concerned about that. This is an issue of trust. Everyone has said it a million times, and the district admin is not listening. This is about trust. We don't trust you. Whether it's about we're spending money on a lawyer to come in to do an investigation that was not discussed openly and publicly, and or with the board, who we hired, why we hired that person for that amount of money, the curriculum that everyone's talking about, the farce, the condensation, the lack of respect that Nick presented at the board meeting on the budget in the faces of our board members was humiliating. That wasn't a show of collaboration. That was a show of humiliation. When board members were requesting information, just like tonight, people requesting information that you say you don't have. You do have it. You just answered the next person's question with that information. When someone stood up and said, "Oh, I have it," you're not even showing here that you're willing to come our way at all. You broke trust again. several times tonight. The people that are here talking about their kids, I have 2 kids at Byrd, and I am concerned if this goes and you are all saying right away, oh, it's the teachers and the students that are going to pay. No, it shouldn't be the teachers and the students. It should be something else. Why aren't we transparent about the budget? Nobody answered the questions at the budget meeting that we had a couple weeks ago, last month, whatever that was. Nobody was answering transparent questions. People were being silenced and shut down. And the fact that you have teachers and educators in here who won't raise their hand to take a vote because they're afraid of retaliation is frightening. It should be frightening to you. How are you going to build back trust? That's the question. Your page, I'm sorry, your incremental information that you sheepishly put on your website about the current investigation, that's laughable. Where is the step towards us to show that you are building trust with the community? That's what's missing. We shouldn't have to talk about $7 million or whatever. No, we shouldn't have to talk about that. But we are, because you continue to let us down. Don't put it in the teachers' laps. Why are you putting it in the teachers' laps? That's ridiculous. The hardest working people in the world. Don't put it in their laps. Do something.
We've got one more.
Yeah, Phil Hoff, resident of Sun Prairie. I was also going to move to amend this proposal to include not only that the electors direct the school board to convene a special meeting, not only if the board adopts a formal performance improvement plan, but also that they seek reimbursement for any legal fees expended under WISTAT 895.45 for any employee that acted outside of the scope of their employment by failing to report a potential crime against a child as required by Wisconsin law and as determined by the school board's independent investigator. I further move that the electors direct the board to convene a special meeting, and we've already discussed that, so the intent behind this policy is to ensure that tax dollars are not being spent defending employees or former employees who did not follow the law and protect every child every day.
All right, so there is a request for a friendly amendment, it sounds like, going to our original.
Yes, I agree, and I'd also like to add something. Can we make that the special electors meeting will convene by October 30th?
Okay, so to get the edits here. So after the performance improvement plan, it looks like they popped that in there. Okay. So plus seeking reimbursement. Where does that fit in? Okay. And then this is going to require the original seconder to come in and if you support it. Okay, so the second has supported it.
Hello again. Gina Pagel, Sun Prairie resident. I am wondering, you've said that this may be nullified. So the length of time that it takes for that to happen is unclear. So what happens? Like, we give a deadline of the 31st, what happens if we don't set a levy? Like, if it's
The
not
school
binding?
board will set the levy per statute, is the legal answer to your question. That said, we're
Thank
moving
you.
forward with this motion.
Sorry, Jen Davey, a resident of Sun Prairie. Are you legally advising that the first part of the motion would not stand as these electors are setting the levy? And then we do have a furthermore that we would be willing to increase it? So you're saying that none of this would, all of this could be voided?
All of this could be voided, correct. That
Because it
said,
is
we are
one
moving
motion?
forward. Oh, I'm sorry, I apologize.
Sorry, because it's one motion altogether, that therefore it avoids it potentially all?
There are multiple legal issues with this motion. I am not advising any particular person in this room. I'm the district's legal counsel. I will give the district advice on the legality of this motion. We're moving forward as presented.
Okay.
So the motion.
That we have now have somebody we cannot trust up here.
So just to be clear,
Yeah, I
my
yield
role
to
is not
Lisa.
to give any particular elector advice.
Go ahead, Lisa.
So the issue with the non-involved is that per state statute, a levy has to be determined by October 31st. And so if it's not determined by October 31st, then that's when it just falls back to the district to make the determination, which is why I asked her to please add that they will convene a special meeting by October 30th.
And just to clarify, though, we have put in a levy of 86 million right here. So we have set the levy. So we are setting the levy. We are currently reviewing a motion that sets the levy at 86 million and as documented change for that at 86 million as the electors. So they couldn't just make up their own levy because here in this meeting we have voted that the levy is 86. That's what we're voting for. So I'm unsure how we're not voting as electors to have it be 86 million as presented here. So.
Okay, so just so that we are all clear on what the current motion is, we have a motion for the electors of the Sun Prairie Area School District pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute 120.108, unless the board adopts a policy to see reimbursement for legal fees expended under Wisconsin State Statute 895.46 for any employee acting outside the scope of their employment by failing to report a potential crime against a child as required by law, as determined by the school board's independent investigator, adopt a tax levy for the 2025-26 school year equal to the total levy of the 2024-25 school year in the amount of $86,592,535. Further move, pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute 120.082, that the electors direct the school board to convene a special meeting by October 30th, 2025, of the electors to reconsider the levy if and only if the board adopts formal performance improvement plans for senior administrators, including the superintendent, publicly reports on implementation progress. All right, further comments?
Hi, Heather Dubois-Bournon again. I have a question for council. Can you please confirm whether or not the amount of the levy that we approve tonight at this meeting is binding or advisory to the board?
It's advisory.
So the board could change, increase, or lower that amount at their own discretion between now and October 30, regardless of what we set it today.
What I can tell you is by state statute, the board sets the levy. That is my answer to your question. I am not going to further discuss that right now.
Okay, thank you. I think that's a very helpful, clarifying question for everybody who is here, and I just want to say that from my point of view, I think the body that's here today has spoken very loudly in an advisory capacity to the board and to district administration, and I think that has been heard, I hope, and that we will see changes. My bigger concern with lowering the levy is just my response to what the business manager presented. We learned tonight that we received $2.5 million less from the state in aid than we expected to. We know that inflation is huge right now, that needs are great, that federal funding has never been more precarious, and we should expect to get even less than we think we're going to get from the federal government right now, even though that's a small percentage of our budget. I oppose this motion for the simple reason that as frustrated as I can be with some of the adults in the room, I don't think our kids should ever have to pay the price of what they're doing. And you want that, I do not want them to pay a greater price than they have already paid. And I don't think that our educators should have to dig deeper into their pockets either to cover what's falling through the cracks if we don't resource our classrooms with enough. I think that we have already made enough advisory votes tonight to signal displeasure that in many ways, and I don't think that we should approve a levy that is inadequate to meet the needs of our children.
We're going to come over to this side real quick, and then we'll bounce back. Is that all right? Okay.
Jennifer Hansen, city resident. Point 7.05 is to set property tax for the 25-26 school year. So regardless of what we set, it's null and void, and the board can make their own.
That's not what I said.
Okay, well, I'm just trying to clarify why, if this is setting it, I need to understand, is it setting it or it's advisory?
So I'm going to tell you what I've said before, which is the school district itself is my client. I am not here to give any particular elector legal advice, nor am I here to give the legal conclusions of your motion. I'm here to coordinate and make sure we comply with the legal requirements. So I understand you'd like a legal opinion from me. I'm not going to give that to you tonight.
I'm not asking for a legal opinion. I'm asking for an answer as if this passes, will the tax levy be set for the 86,592,000, whatever, that number?
No.
Short? No, because the board has the power to change whatever we vote for here.
By statute, the board sets the levy.
My understanding is very similar, if I may, that we are suggesting tonight.
Okay.
That's my understanding.
Okay.
But it's not binding.
Thank you.
I would just like to go on record as saying that each and every last one of these motions that we made tonight, we have gotten an attorney who helped us craft them and has been giving us advice. And so if you're saying that this does not hold, be prepared for a fight.
We are not saying that we're holding anything hostage. They are going to have the same amount of money that they had last year. They have been, I am talking right now, you need to take your turn.
Excuse me, yes, okay, thank you.
I am a teacher, but I am also a parent, which I'm sure lots of you are as well. And I'm a parent of 2 children here in the district. So of course, I am very concerned about how they're going to spend the money. But there are many, many, many years that have gone by where they have not used the money accurately. It's not helping kids. We can obviously see that if you turn on the news. You can see lots of problems that are happening in the district. They sweep things under the rug. It is now time. This is the end. I'm drawing a line. We are not going to take it anymore. If you'd like to talk to me about my experiences in the classroom, I will surely love to talk to you after the meeting about what has happened to me. But this is our chance to finally tell them that this is the end. Enough is enough. There's so many things that got swept under the rug, and something needs to happen. So please, please, as a teacher and as a parent, I'm begging you, please help us stop this. This has gone on for too many years. It cannot keep going like this.
We had one pop up over here. You can go first, you're waving. Okay, go for it.
I would like to know the rationale for not accepting my friendly amendment to give what is needed this year if the requirements are met.
Just to be clear, they are not required to provide that explanation, but you are more than welcome to request it, yes.
So I'm taking my turn, and I'm requesting that information because you are putting a roadblock when you say we have to meet again to say you have enough money for the year. If we put in there that it will automatically go into effect and not require us coming together again in this dysfunctional manner, I just don't understand, and I'd love to hear your thinking.
Our understanding is that we would need to call a special meeting to allow the levy to change. Our understanding was we could not leave it open like this and leave it at 86 if they do this. How do we follow up on the they do this part if there's no meeting? If there's a way to not do the meeting, I am open to what Gina is saying. I think we would be interested in that.
All right, we'll go ahead and keep it moving. All right, Jennifer?
I am saddened. I don't know how else to say it. Everyone in this room is here because they care about the kids. Everyone in this room, I feel, is here for the common good of our schools, of the children that are in our schools, to have them be safe. And I also feel that people are here to be heard. At the regular school board meetings, they get limited time. At those meetings, some of the board members and others up on the board do not even look at the people that are speaking. It's as if they are not even being acknowledged that they have a voice. This is screaming, we don't trust you. As a school administration, this is sad. We need to figure out as a community, as a school district, how do we move forward in a way that is not going to further cause harm to those in which we are intending to improve. And that's our schools, our teachers, our students that are in the schools. This should scream to the board of directors and the administration. This is your wake-up call that the citizens of this school district are not accepting of unacceptable behaviors. This shakes me to the core. I want our teachers to be supported. I want our schools to be safe. I want our students to be heard. When a lot of this came about, the whole initiative, see something, say something. Well, that really only works if the ones that are hearing the information act appropriately with the information they have been given. That trust was broken. I don't know how a school district, how we are going to recover to regain trust, but something has got to change. And I don't want the teachers to suffer the consequences of an inadequate budget for them to do what they are trying to do with probably already strained resources. So I'm not sure if there's anyone here that can advise us how to write this motion so that the students will not, the students and the teachers and the staff in the schools facing the students will not have their hands tied to do the job that they were hired to do. And yet hold those in the school district administration and the school board accountable for lack of action. I don't know if anyone can advise us how we do that, but we have got to move forward. And I do feel that this district, it's broken, and we have to come together and fix it. And one Facebook post that comes to my mind is that the teachers, there was a teacher that retired, and she pulled out of her closet a strap. That strap was her way of securing her door and protecting her students if there was a shooter in the schools. These teachers are literally putting their lives on the line every day to protect our children. And sadly, it comes down to dollars. I heard in a school board meeting that I watched this morning, the budget is the district's priorities in dollar form. I believe that to be true to some extent, but if the district's priorities boil down to dollar form, then I think those at the top need to give a little so that those in the trenches have what they need to do what they do. And I'm sorry this was kind of rambling, but these are important things. We have got to figure out how we can get trust again in our administration. Thank you.
If I can, I would like to answer her question, only because I am somebody who firmly believes in transparency, and I was going to talk to her afterwards, but I feel like in the spirit of transparency, I'm always saying the information should be public, right? So I have to live by that. For me, the issue with not changing this is that in my experience, when things are left in the board's hand, that they do a crappy job. And I understand we have new school board members, but again, recent votes have shown that we have new faces, but they're doing the same thing. And so by making us making them come back, we get to see what that plan of improvement looks like. And October 30th is 3 weeks away. You know what I mean? They call closed sessions for so many things. They can call a closed session this week, come up with a PIP, and we could be back here next week. It doesn't take a lot. And so school started September. We've been working under this old levy for a month. They can't do it for 2 to 3 more weeks. I think they can.
Yeah, I'm Bill Connors. I'm a resident of the district. I had 4 children go through Sun Prairie Area School District schools. I am by background a lawyer. I don't practice law anymore, but many years ago, I gave advice to clients about litigation. I've been a client receiving advice from lawyers about litigation. It may well be that even if this motion passes, the school board actually has the authority to set the levy, and they will set whatever levy they choose to set by October 31. But we've heard people argue here, claiming they've been advised by lawyers, saying if this thing passes, the levy is actually $86,592,535. It's not the 90 whatever million that the school board has indicated that they're going to pass as the levy. There may be time to do all the steps that are in this motion. There may not be time to do all the steps that are in this motion. And the one thing that I always advise clients when I was a lawyer, because we were always taught this in law school. And the one thing that the lawyers always advised me when I was in the client position was that if this stuff goes to litigation, there's no guarantee that the levy won't end up being $86,592,535,000 if this motion passes. I don't know how big a risk that is, but it's a real risk. And I think you should consider that when you're thinking about voting for this motion. Because as far as I'm concerned, if that was eventually the outcome of this, and that we end up with the same levy this upcoming year as the past year, even though the cost of everything has increased, there's no way that's not going to adversely affect students and teachers. And if you think otherwise, you're completely kidding yourself.
This is where maybe anything new.
I see one more comment over here, and then we will have the question for anything new to add, and then we will move into our vote. So please.
Hi, my name is Brittany. I'm a mom of kids in the district, and I live here. I just want to speak to stuff that's going on in the room. There's lots of emotions right now. When people are emotional, they don't hear each other. So this is really valid. I think it makes sense, like trying to do the same so that you're heard. I get that. But I'm curious if a better solution for the district is to hold collaborative meetings with community members, going to the schools like the community does, and bringing forms and not putting it on their website because it's very confusing, but actually doing the work with everybody so that you hear each other. Because I always tell my clients, right, that like you're at train tracks, like nobody's actually listening to you because you just want to be heard, and so nothing's getting done. I don't know that this solves that, to be honest.
Okay, thank you. And genuinely thank you all. There are a lot of emotions in the room, but it's a lot of passion. So do we have one last comment here?
I guess I'll say to that, I was a part of a community and board initiative that Bryn started a number of years ago, and that just ended because there was an impasse of the board and the community being able to move forward in conversation. Now that's been recreated as Community Voices. I know there's several people in the room that are a part of that, and it has been a failure in this community to create a clear communication between the community and the board over the last decade in the times of the governance model. So I do think that's important, but it's also disappointing that these committees keep being created and not really serving the purpose that you're calling us to. I would like to make a friendly amendment that we move the date to October 27th to give time for the board to meet, but also for the board to have a little bit more time before that deadline to reconvene so that we can, as all of us want to, approve and move forward with the levy, the expected levy.
All right, so friendly amendment. All right, from the original motion and from the second, both agree with that. So that amendment will be added in to change the date from October 30th to October 27th. Okay.
Okay, I want to clarify. I don't mean with the board. I mean with the district, like the admin, because the board can't do everything, right? Like they can hear you, they can validate you, and they're limited by the admin in many ways. I think the admin needs to repair. The district needs to repair with families. They need to sit down and hear the hard and sit with the hard and be vulnerable and be accountable. So I just want to clarify.
And I would like to also, I know we have coffee time chats with Brad, but I think what we're all saying here is that the people are not being heard. We can have many, 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 many meetings with this administration, and they are not going to give you $1. In fact, they'll make you bring your own coffee, and you are not going to see any change. They're all talk, lies, and we wouldn't be here this long if they did something.
All right, we're going to go ahead, and it's time to vote. I see nobody else at the mic, so we are going to do, again, a ballot vote to protect anonymity here. So I'm going to go through and make sure the boxes are emptied out, and then we will have staff come through with ballots. Thank you.
Yeah, it's going to take a minute.
No, I just really like this chart. I'm happy I came just to see this chart.
Raising the issue, period. I'm glad I paused to look up the rule. Yes. Isn't she doing great? I agree with you. I think she's doing a really good job. Okay.
All right, any outstanding ballots? I'm going to go ahead and begin.
All ballots are in? Okay, I want to make sure my math is, oh, yep, you do. 47, 48, 49. 15 plus 40, 31 is 46.
Yes.
Yep. Okay, I want you to do my, so,
What was that? Yes, yep.
Yep.
So this was the second, third, most recent.
first, second, third,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Okay. Because it's a close, I think the noes carry by 3 votes, but I want to.
I'm getting out a calculator. Okay.
Yeah, me too.
we've
So
got-
total up
these are the
17
six,
plus 8 plus 31. Plus 8 plus 30. Oh, is it 56? Well, there you go.
Okay, so,
Just let me read it. 17
oh my
plus
gosh.
8 plus 30. 56. Okay. And then, so 56, 49, the motion passes.
All right, folks.
And then you would take a motion to adjourn.
Yes.
After you say that.
This has been more exciting than the season finale of Survivor 49.
I beg to differ.
Oh, got competition here. All right, no.
I love Survivor.
No, but it's, yes. Okay, so just getting your attention back. Thank you, everybody. So thank you, everyone, for taking the time to fill out those ballots. The motion does carry 56 to 49. So that is that item. So we are now to motion for adjournment, and I will very sleepily and gladly entertain any motion for adjournment.
I second.
Okay, thank you. And voice vote for this? All in favor, say aye. Anyone not in favor? Say no. Oh, I love it. Oh, who said no? Oh, it's on. All right, thank you, everybody.
Okay. Let's leave them here, and we're gonna let administration, Sean, do. Didn't she do great?